Hey everybody, welcome back to Jiu Jitsu Lifting Life Podcast. And before we begin, I want to take a brief moment to reflect on 20th anniversary of 9/11. On September 11th, 2001, thousands of people lost their lives due to a terrorist attack. The people who were there or were old enough to remember the tragedy of that day can tell you exactly what happened, where they were, what they were doing, and how they felt. I'm one of those people. But this day isn't about me. It's about the good people who woke up and were expecting to go through their daily routine. Yet that was taken from them. To this day, on the anniversary of 9/11, I take a moment to reflect on what occurred. This year I came across a quote from Wallace Crowther, also known as the man with the red bandana. Crowther said to a group of people he was saving, "Everyone who can stand up now. If you can help others, do so." If you haven't heard the story of this brave man, please look it up. Crowther, age 24, died saving people's lives that were trapped in the towers. He wasn't a firefighter, he wasn't a cop or a first responder. He was just a man that wanted to help do his part and to save as many people as he could, which he did. I believe we can all take a page out of his book and all those other countless heroes who put their lives on the line to save someone else, especially to this day. This doesn't mean that you have to do something heroic. It doesn't mean you have to sacrifice your life for someone else. But maybe take a moment to be more considerate of others. Look past yourself and your own beliefs to let someone who doesn't share your thoughts or ideology not get the best of you. Take a moment before reacting to a situation that upsets you and step back and really think about what just happened. Be thankful for your friends and your loved ones. For those who lost their lives or lost someone on 9/11, you will be ever in our thoughts and prayers. For my first responder brothers and sisters, you're loved and honored every day. And as the man in the red bandana said, everyone who can stand up now. If you can help others, do so. Thank you.
Alrighty, guys, welcome to another episode of the Jiu Jitsu Lifting Life Podcast. I'm your host, Daniel Cartagena. You can find my Instagram at Mr. Fantastic GNS10P. Of course, the latest episode's always going to be dropped in my bio. We're shooting for dropping new episodes every Tuesday on our YouTube channel. So if you go on and you like our stuff, please like, share, and subscribe. That'd be greatly appreciated. And also drop a comment if you do like it. If you don't like it, let us know why, and we'll get back to you. Of course, always joining me is my co-host,
Tran. Hey, I'm back.
Oh yeah, here he goes. He's got his big boy voice on right now.
Warmed up.
Alrighty, guys. So
Excited.
In our Bernardo, it's a huge honor for us. We have a guest in this thing. Boha, huge honor. We have Nate Ghareeb coming in, man. What's going on?
Hey.
How you doing?
Not much. Hey, thanks guys. Thanks for having me on.
Oh no, thanks
it's a
for
pleasure.
coming. I know that you're
awesome.
week to your fight coming up, so it's thanks for taking time out of your schedule to come on and be on our podcast. We really greatly appreciate it. How you doing, Tran?
Pretty good. I'm excited, man. Nate's awesome, man.
Oh, thanks,
He's
man. I
awesome,
appreciate
dude.
that.
Oh, yeah.
So I'll just do a little quick bio on Nate Ghareeb. You're a 3-1 professional fighter at featherweight.
Yep.
You just last fought at August 6th at CES. I'm sorry, I don't know the number for that
I think
one.
it was 63 or 64.
I think this, yeah.
Maybe.
69.
Yeah, 63. See, where you won by TKO in round 1.
Yep.
And from your record is 3-1, and all your wins are by KO and TKO.
Yeah. Yep.
Which is
That's sick,
he's
dude.
throwing bangers, throwing heat. Oof. And you're fighting September 17th at the Connecticut Convention Center, Hartford, Connecticut. Yep. You can also tune into UFC Fight Pass, guys. So you still have tickets for sale.
I still have tickets for sale. Definitely, if anybody's interested, hit me up quick because I got to have them back by weigh-ins on Thursday morning. So.
Thursday morning? Okay, so you want to drop your Instagram handle and any way they can connect to you, so if they are trying to buy tickets?
Yeah, it's Nathan_Ghareeb. Ghareeb. I know it's sometimes people have a hard time with that one, so I just want to make sure that it's there.
Yeah, dude, I had a hard time. How do you say your last name? Okay, I got it. So what's up, man? How's it going?
It's going well, man. I'm excited. Like you said, it's I guess I don't know if you count Sunday as the first day of the week, but if it does, it's fight week. So I'm excited. The jitters are here, and just at this point, it's just a matter of cutting weight. We did the work, and so I'm just ready to get after it.
It's a quick turnaround, bro.
Very quick turnaround. After the last fight, I didn't take any injuries, so they were like, well, we'd like to have you back. And I was like, absolutely. If you guys can get me a guy, I'll sign the contract and show up. So, we're just trying to make a run right now, so as many fights as I can get. And it was an opportunity, couldn't waste it. So
Yeah, well, the last one was at the Mass Mutual Center in Springfield, right?
Yep.
How did that feel?
I felt good. It's always great to fight in front of my friends and family and, get new fans and followers that are around the area. I feel like I'm still a little unknown still, which isn't a bad thing, but it definitely helps to like kind of get my name out there for people to see like, hey, what I'm doing, because I don't think around here MMA itself is not like massive by any means compared to other places. So it's good to get the exposure,
Oh no, that's for sure. One of our main goals is to have guys like you and promote the shit out you. Like honestly, that's my goal for all this, is to get you. Obviously, knowing you, rolling with you, training with you, talking to you, I know how good of a guy you are. I know how smart you are. And your record, you're fucking exciting, bro. Like, I'm not gonna lie. We trained. I got bad memory. I got that Tran memory. It's coming on. You're rubbing off on me.
Shots fired already.
But
on the podcast.
stop it. But I know we used to train in Manly's back in the day, and you told me you were a wrestler. And then you were talking about, making your way into MMA and stuff like that and the journey that you went on. And then I didn't link up with you until after. I think I saw you your last when Placido had that match against John Manley at Ammo.
Yeah, it was my first pro fight.
Your first pro fight, bro.
Shit.
And I remember you were in the back hitting the bag, whack, throwing kicks. I was like, yeah, I used to train with that kid. Yeah, that kid right there. Yeah, he's in the zone, bro. He's in the zone. It's funny because I hadn't seen you or Manley in forever, but I was in Placido's corner because he had a super fight.
Oh, that was him, huh?
Yeah,
I remember that.
And I was telling Tran, I was like, yo, this kid, I was like, yo, watch this.
He was
shit.
telling me, he's like, what bam. I
was like, yo, shit, you hear that shit, bro? I'm like, yo, Tran, check this fucking, I know this kid, yo, check that skit. I was like, God. And you were like, yo, dude, you were tunnel vision, you were in the fucking zone. And it's funny because me and Tran were in Placido's corner, and to go to the back, you had to have like an MMA like credential or whatever.
Yeah.
But he needed us in the back to warm him up. He wanted me to record him, and he wanted Tran to flow with him. So we had to make a big deal about getting us back there and stuff like that. I think Tran, because everyone seems to know him, and he could just get into anywhere at all times, bro. So he got there no problem. He's like, dude.
It's the innocent Asian look, and they just think, oh yeah, he's nothing. He's not.
They think they know him. They all say hi everywhere we go. People say hi to him and stuff. He don't
They
even
all know me. They all know me somehow.
So he got back there no problem, and then I was like, man, I had to go back there, and they're like, oh, let's see a thing, this and that. And they're like, oh, he's just with jiu-jitsu. So I went back there, and I seen you warming up, and I was like, Jesus. I was like, damn, this kid. And I hadn't seen you in forever.
Years.
And to see your progression, knowing you, you were telling me that you wrestled at Springfield College, and we did a round in the gi back in when Manly had it in the smaller gym.
Yeah, Team Link, yeah.
Yeah, man, and to see you fucking throwing I think you beat that kid. You KO'd him. Was it by leg kicks?
KO by punch. Yeah, right hand just crumpled him.
Dude, you
slapped him.
Lighting him. I was a big fan, bro. I was like, damn, where'd that come from, bro?
I don't know.
Where'd
man.
that come from?
Once I started doing the striking, and I did a little bit of striking at John's, and then when I moved to West Virginia for college, I started. I was looking for a striking program, and they had a boxing program, and they had a gym that was nearby. Couldn't find the gym. Went to the boxing. I was like, all right, this is all right. They had a couple national champion boxers there, but it really. I was like, whatever. And then I met this. It's actually interesting now that we're talking about it. This kid was in the rec center, so there was a bag at the rec center, and I used to just go hit it because I didn't have anybody to train with. And there was this dude, I don't know, maybe from Saudi Arabia, and he was doing all these flashy kicks, spinning kicks, wheel kicks on the bag. And he was like, "Oh, are you gonna sign up for the Muay Thai club?" And I was like, "There's a Muay Thai club? I didn't even know that." He's like, "Yeah, we're gonna go to the meeting next week." I was like, "Oh, cool." So I ended up getting the contact information, and that's how I met my good friend now, Chris, who founded the Muay Thai program. And when I started training with him, it was then I learned real Muay Thai. He taught real Muay Thai, and that was my first exposure to real striking. And I was I fell in love with it immediately. So much so that I literally dropped training wrestling, training jiu-jitsu, and just solely focused on my striking because.
I mean, it's showing in your fights, bro.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jesus,
especially that last fight at CES.
You went, right?
Yeah, I went there. I actually I watched you, Nate. I was in the probably in the middle row or so, and when you fought your opponent, and it's a loud crowd, and from your kicks, I could literally hear you. What bam! This guy,
yeah,
hitting his legs and just chopping him. I'm like, oh my god! I know that guy. That's Nate. He rolled. He was just, it totally was just like, oh, I feel bad for that guy. But, man, you did your thing. But you could hear your kick so loud, and it was just a matter of time. This guy's just going to go down.
Yeah,
that was like
sick. My goal is just to chop at his legs because a lot of guys seem like their base is like a little bit off. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how people necessarily view me other than like people think of me as like a striker, but if I see a weakness in your game, I'm going to attack it. And from what I've seen in the past, he just throws a lot. He threw a lot of boxing and kind of exposed himself with the legs, like wider base, and you know, just pick where.
Well, you were taking advantage of that. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, if people see you as a striker, it's, you know, because your fights, how, you know, viciously and stuff, you're ending them. But we've rolled on the mat together, and you're a technician, bro. You got really good attacks, really good wrestling. I like watching you go against our big guys because you won't say no. You won't say no, and I'm like, nah. They be like, you want to roll? Nah. You're gonna land on my neck or something. I don't trust you. And I see you roll wrestling with them and stuff, and then, you know, we got some rounds in, and your jiu-jitsu's, it's up there with everybody that's in our gym that, you know, you going good rounds and stuff like that with good guys. And I mean, so far in MMA, you haven't had to really show it. You know what I mean? So like,
I've really been forced to.
Yeah.
I mean, at my earlier amateur career, all of my losses were by the ground, and whether it was a decision or a submission, and that helped me kind of like change my mindset because I was so striking. I got so into the striking and figured, oh well, you know, I wrestled for all these years and I did a little jiu-jitsu, so I was like, I'll be fine. And then you meet the guy that like, oh, he's like, oh, what happens if we take him down? Like, what happens if it goes to the ground? What's he going to do? And it was after losing my third fight as an amateur on the ground, it was like, okay, I really need to take some time and really figure out what's going on and what I can do to like improve that. And that set me on a completely different journey. So I know a lot of people think of me as a striker, but like you said, I haven't really been forced to show my grappling skills, and I figure if I don't have to do it, then I won't, because it seems to me, especially around here, a lot of these guys, like if they get hit enough, they'll just start shooting, and they don't really want to strike. A lot of these guys talk about striking, they act like they're strikers, and then they get hit by me, and then they're like, okay, fuck that. Almost all of them start shooting immediately, and so you know, I'm definitely not opposed to grappling, but it's like I see weaknesses in a lot of these guys' games. So I'm like, why not? If they want to grapple, like, why would I have to grapple if they know they can't strike with me? I'll keep it standing and just bludgeon them as much as I can until I can find the opening. So
that's the point of being an all-round martial artist and stuff like that. You dictate where you want to fight.
Yeah.
And that's absolutely what, you know, wrestling really helps with a lot of things, is dictating where you want to go. If you want to stand, you can stand. They can't take you down. You know, what's Conor McGregor say? You hit people until they want to shoot on you or something.
Yeah, they turn into a D1 college wrestler.
Yeah, he ended up becoming a D1. but it was a dope save before he took that fight, and that's the truth. You know what I mean? There's nothing worse than getting hit and then telegraphing your shots. Like, everything's like, a lot of it is about the setup when it comes to taking people down, especially if they wrestled. So you're out there just cracking dudes, but like I said, like rolling with you and stuff like that. Why change your game plan?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and that's just a testament to how good you got in just, you know, in striking. You know what I mean? So let's just
definitely evolve from the game.
Yeah,
you can't just rely on wrestling. You can't just rely on striking too.
No, absolutely
it's a combination of both. You
Yeah.
know? Even though you're pretty dominant in the ground, you still kind of gotta still go over it and practice and drill it too as well.
Hell yeah, man. What?
Oh.
There's so many metas and everything, you know. I'm just a fan. I'm too pretty to get punched, bro. So I'm like, I ain't doing that. I ain't saying you ain't pretty. I'm just saying I'm not married or nothing. So I can't fuck up this face. But watching it, like, I was trying to tell people, like, I couldn't coach MMA fighters. Like, I told people I couldn't even teach self-defense. I don't get hit. You know, I'm all sports jiu-jitsu. You know, sports jiu-jitsu, and I'll get you in shape and stuff like that. And there's moments in sports jiu-jitsu, you guys all know, we all train. There's violent moments in jiu-jitsu, like it's tough, but I don't get hit.
Yeah.
So I don't have to. My timing, my setups, I could bullshit a lot of things. You know what I mean?
Changes the game for sure.
Yeah, man. Even like wrestling, bro. I could bullshit so much wrestling shit. I could make it work. Why? Because it's just the name of the game. You know what I mean? So let's backtrack, because we came in hot, because, you know, we were talking about, like, you know, your fights, and I get excited when I see guys finishing fights. You know, I see guys that want to really, like, get out there. I'm a fan, so that's what I want to see. You know, I want to see guys get subs, or I want to see guys go for the finish. And I personally like technical, smart fighters. That's what I like. I like guys that are setting stuff up. Like, you look at shit on him all you want, Sugar Sean O'Malley. When he's going with all those feints and that movement, you're like, you know, he's setting you up. What got you into MMA? What made you go from Springfield College wrestler, like, I want to punch people, I want to get punched? Or was it not even that? Was it just happened?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of like a mixture of a lot of things. Because I've actually, a lot of people have asked me this question, and it's like, it doesn't ever change. It's just kind of like an accumulation of things. And I wrestled in high school. I actually wanted to be a WWE wrestler. That was like,
I'm a big pro wrestling fan.
Dude, I love pro wrestling.
I'm gonna start a pro wrestling podcast and review all that stuff.
I think you should, because honestly, like, I grew up on that stuff, and that's what I thought wrestling was, like, in high school. That's
what he had the same story.
Yeah, it's so weird. But
he did one practice, and he was like, "What the fuck?"
That's exactly what happened. Me and my buddy, he's actually doing it now. He's like a professional wrestler, and he's like for the last, like, while I've been doing the MMA, he's been doing this, and that was like the ultimate goal. Was like, after high school, was like, what do you want to do? Like, my parents wanted me to go to college. I was like, there's no reason. I didn't have a reason to go to college, but they were like, you need to go to college, you need to get your degree. I'm like, all right, cool. And so when my buddy and I were seniors, we were walking down the science wing. My coach in high school was a biology teacher, and he was like, okay. He's like, so now, he's like, what's next for you guys? Like, what are you going to do? And we were like, we're going to go, and we're going to be WWE wrestlers. Nice. And he was like, why the hell would you do that? He hated it. He was like, why would you do that?
Because it's storytelling, all right? These matches are storytelling.
He absolutely hated it, and he was like, why don't you do a man sport like MMA? And that was the first time I'd ever heard that. I've never heard of MMA in my life. I mean, people had talked about Chuck Liddell because he was still around. Like, this was like 2012.
Yeah.
And they also, like, people talked about Anderson Silva because that was when he, like, had the belt still, and he was still like hadn't been beaten in so long, and he was like the man.
I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about his first
he
loss.
just fucked up Tito Ortiz last night.
Yeah,
I cried when Anderson lost to Chuck. I didn't cry, but when he lost to Chris Weidman in 2013, I think.
You cried.
That was my superhero.
Yeah.
My superhero, bro.
Admit it, dude. You cried.
I cried, Tran. I'm a crier.
He's very emotional.
Just mind your business. Anyways, Nate.
It's all about Nate. Come on.
Yeah. Stop it.
So that was like my first, like, that was like the seed that was planted. And as I was going to go to, I ended up breaking my foot that summer. I had this, like, issue with my feet where they would, like, just break because of the high arches or the pressure. So I went with my buddy. He went through the school. I decided that I was just going to go to college and that I would wrestle. And so that was, like I said, he'd planted the seeds for this MMA thing. So I went to college. I just decided I was going to wrestle in college. I didn't really want to, but my mom was like, you need to wrestle in college. Like, all right, cool. So I figured if I fulfilled the 4 years of wrestling, then I'd have this great background in wrestling, and everybody at the time was like, wrestling is the thing that makes, you know, MMA fighters so good. So I was like, all right, cool. And then I got injured my freshman year, and I broke my foot again, had to have surgery, was out all year on crutches for the majority of my freshman year. And then my sophomore year, I tore the labrum in my left shoulder, and I was out. And I was like, all right, fuck this. I'm not doing this anymore. Like, I'm just not going to do this. I don't want to wrestle. I didn't have any desire to wrestle. I hated wrestling.
It's kind of like your body knew.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, bro, let me give you this. Your body just knows, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It is. I feel like, yeah, there certainly it does. And I feel like your mind and your body, if they're not in it, it's like you'll find a way. And like, I do kind of believe in destiny, and like, there's like reasons why things don't work out. And that kind of led me to the MMA journey, because I was seeing a girl at a time, and I was more influenced by like wanting to be around her than like wanting to go to training and do all that shit. And I just started to want to experience the college life. So I had taken some time off, and I had like really hit the lowest point in my life in my sophomore year. And I was like, I just started like drinking and partying, and I was like, just kind of not who I never drank or did any of that stuff in high school. So it was like new for me. But then when I started experiencing it, I enjoyed it. So I ended up kind of like losing myself for a little while, and with the time off from my shoulder, I just didn't train. I just lifted weights, and then it just, by the time I was coming around to my junior year, I had, at the end of my sophomore year, I decided like I need to change something, because like I said, I was not who I felt like I could be. You know, I was like kind of like just being a scumbag, I guess. And
so
I
just the party animal, you know?
Yeah,
just
I
enjoying the
guess.
college life, bro.
I
The
just
chicks, the beer, the alcohol.
Yeah, I mean, I hadn't gotten to that point. That's the thing. Like, I just was like, I was just mentally weak. You know, that's the big thing. I was mentally weak. It wasn't even so much about the partying. It was just like I hadn't experienced anything at that point in my life. Like, I was still very small-minded. I didn't have the mindset to like push myself in any way. Like, I was like afraid of everything. So like I had anxiety so bad my sophomore year that I would walk into the cafeteria and had this fear that everybody was watching me. And it was fucking terrifying.
Coming from a man that wrestled 4 years in high school, you know how terrifying people, they don't want to wrestle. They don't want to wear the singlet. They don't want to be out there. No problem. Yeah. That was no problem.
No.
But walk into a cafeteria.
And I started getting really bad anxiety. Yeah, I mean,
Fucking
it was bad. Like I had gotten to a point where so like I said, I ended up, the girl I was with, we broke up, and then it was like this whole clusterfuck that year, and I ended up being put into like the transfer dorm somehow, and I didn't have any friends. I didn't like the people that I started with, they dropped out. Like freshman year, people drop out. They decide they don't want to do this. Like they move on, they make new friends. Shit happens, and I was like secluded. I had no friends. I didn't have anything going on. So I was like really like just like watching Netflix in my room in the dark, just going to class, coming back, just doing nothing and just by myself. So like you have a lot of time to think and like stew over shit. And I had decided at that point, like I was number one going to transfer, but I was like, I need to do something else. Something needs to fill this void. I felt like I grew up playing sports my whole life, you know, soccer, baseball, wrestling, hockey, all of it. So to not be competing, to not be training, to not be doing something was missing in my life. And so I contacted a local guy that had helped coach wrestling, Jim McSweeney, who was like doing amateur MMA at like 50. And
I know Jim.
You know Jim. Yeah, Jim's
tough.
the man. Yeah, he's crazy.
Yeah, he's tight. He's not even that big too, but he's tough.
He's tough. He's strong. He's a wild man. And
I tried to sweep him from my guard once, and he wouldn't move.
No, he's a brick shit house for sure. But he, you know, I asked him. I was like, hey, like, I know you're doing this like MMA thing. Like, how do you get into that? And he was like, well, I can give you a list of gyms that I've been going to. And the first one he gave me was Team Link, and with a bunch of other ones. But I figured I'll just start with this one. And I walked into the doors at Team Link in Northampton, and I just fell in love with it. I was like, oh shit, this is cool. Like, I like this. It's kind of like wrestling, but not really. And it was with a gi.
That's funny. I feel like everyone started at Team Link.
Yeah, it seems like that's like
myself included, you know.
Yeah,
so it's funny.
So I mean, that was like my first exposure to like a different martial art. Like if you don't include wrestling, like I come
wrestling as a martial art.
Yeah,
I really do.
Yeah.
I know some people don't because it's like a sport because they teach in high school. But more personally, me, I'm like it's definitely a martial art. The technique and structure. And when you're doing stuff together as a team, there and go, and then you're doing katas or form or stuff, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
it's hand-to-hand combat, you know.
It is. I mean, it's like the basic. You know, like people say it was like the first sport that was ever, you know, pretty much invented. So it's like
Romans, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Greek people. That
Greeks,
first,
yeah.
I think that's so interesting to hear because, like the mental part of living life and stuff like that and getting culture shocked, you know, some people hit it early, some people hit it later in life, and it's how about they adapt and come from it. But I bet, you know, coming from like a wrestling background, how strict you have to be and stuff like that, and then going and losing that, but then still coming back, because we see so many people leave the sport, leave jiu-jitsu, leave wrestling, and they don't come back.
Yeah.
They don't come back. And then for you to reach out to be like, and especially a sport that you didn't even know about.
Right.
Right? And then is that where the love fell? Like,
I mean, I don't know, like, because my wrestling program wasn't like, I was always wrestling heavier, so I was always eating whatever I wanted. I always grew up being like a fatter kid. I was never strict, never disciplined. My parents didn't necessarily discipline me.
What weight class, 215 or 189?
189 my freshman and sophomore year, and then 170 my junior and senior year.
Okay.
And I was still like pretty, like I should have been wrestling at like 155, 145 probably.
I feel you.
But I didn't want to do the diet. I didn't want to be strict. My coach wasn't big on cutting weight. He was big on being healthy. He's a very healthy person, very health conscious, did not like the idea of cutting weight. He was more of on like the philosophy of like training, like
shout out to him. Yeah,
that's smart. That's smart.
I mean, he was a huge man. He was in my corner for my last fight as well.
That's awesome.
for the first time, which was cool to like have him back and be like, oh
Yeah,
shit, like he's
nice.
here with us. And like he, you know, like he was the one that really like planted the seed. Cause like I said, I never heard of MMA, and I just kind of like ran with it. You know, I just ran with like the whole idea of doing it, but I needed something to kind of like pull me out of like a dark place, because I felt like when I was first started, I was always like mentally weak. Like I said, I didn't have the discipline. I was like scared. I was scared, terrified of everything. Growing up, I was terrified of everything. So to finally get into this stuff, it really taught me how to be more confident, taught me how to like take better care of myself, and has continued to progress that way. But yeah, I mean, wrestling was definitely like a gateway and like an opportunity for me to like learn more about myself. As you guys know, with every martial art, you learn a lot about yourself. And after going to Team Link, and then I went there for 3 months, then transferred to West Virginia. So that's when I started striking, and that's when I fell in love with striking, and that's when I got really good, because I was just so obsessed with going to the gym. Like my buddy that he's a very good friend of mine, he's like a brother to me. We used to leave our criminology classes, because that's what we studied at West Virginia, and we would like leave class to go to the gym and just train.
Yeah.
And he taught me like how to really strike. Like he was my foundation, and like I'm super fortunate, because it's like he's from New York, I'm from Massachusetts, and we meet in West Virginia in the middle of fucking nowhere, and he's like teaching me all of these different ways. I mean, that's why like I don't just like some guys, like you'll see a lot of guys, they transition from wrestling and they're just like, they have an overhand right and like a takedown. But it was like, he was teaching me how to throw elbows. He was teaching me how to throw knees. He was teaching me how to throw kicks. You know, he was teaching
shout
me how
out
to
that
punch.
guy.
Yeah, Chris Rodriguez.
Dude, you're fucking, you got the whole thing, but yo, your kicks, bro. I'd shoot too.
And
I'd say guard. I'd say guard in MMA. Motherfucker, hey, coach.
D1
Coach,
wrestler?
Coach, you didn't. I wouldn't shoot. Fuck that, Coach. You didn't tell me he kicked like this.
Yeah, he taught. I mean, he taught me like the foundations of
I'd
striking.
fire my corner. He told me how to check a kick. You're fired.
So who was this guy that was teaching you striking again?
His name's Chris Rodriguez.
That's
He
nice.
was like, he's only a couple months older than me, but he was just like he was into the art of striking, and he just.
It's beautiful,
great
man.
way of,
When
like,
you see
teaching it.
high level guys strike, it's beautiful. It's
Yeah.
fighting's no art. No, it's fucking beautiful,
art,
bro.
you know?
It's beautiful. I don't know what's more beautiful. When you see somebody, a really good boxer, even hitting pads, and they're slipping and moving, and you're like, wow, that's the sweet science. Yeah, that's sweet. You can't do that, man.
It really is. Like,
You
and
know?
that's the thing. Like when I learned from him, I saw it as an art. I didn't see it as this barbaric thing that everybody else at the time had seen, especially earlier on. It seemed more of like a barbaric sport. And even though they call it mixed martial arts, it's like people still see it as like this
Human cockfighting.
Yeah. But he really taught me about like the art of it, and like he took a more artistic approach to fighting in general. But yeah, I mean once I started training with him, it was like I just fell in love with it, and I didn't want to go back. Like I told myself, like if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna fucking do it. So I just showed up every day and just got better every day. And I realized like the more I did it, the more I was like, wait a minute, like I have something here. Cause like when I was at John's, like I did all right. We did some basic boxing, not a whole lot of kicking. But when I started learning how to kick, when I started learning how to knee, when I started learning how to elbow, it was like, okay, I see when I'm training with other people, I'm like, oh, these guys aren't doing this. Like these guys are only doing like, maybe they'll kick a little bit, but mostly a lot of guys were boxing at the time or wrestling. And I was like, I think, like, especially with like knees and elbows, like they're vicious. It's like, why aren't people using these? Like, and every day we go to training and be like, dude, I've been to places, like I know people aren't training this stuff. Why aren't they training this stuff? Like, why aren't they training like this? So I mean, that's always been like a foundation for me in terms of, martial arts. And like, that's why I also like to strike, because I'm like, dude, I'm going to do things other people aren't going to do. And like, I'm willing to go into that. Like, I know that I've been to dark places before. Like, I know that like I have that side of me that like, for the most part, like if you know me, like I'm a nice guy, like I'll give you the shirt off my back, I'll help you in any way that I can. Like I try to be a good person as much as I can, but I also know that if pushed to the right limits or circumstances, like I can also like turn that switch on. And I feel like that's the reason why like have been doing this for as long as I have, because it's been this is my 15th, it's gonna be my 15th fight, in MMA. So
Wow.
I've been doing it for a while, and it's going on my like 7th year, or 7.5 years now of training everything.
Shit.
So
Damn, props to you, man. Damn.
You have to have that duality of man to fight or to do anything that's a combat. Like I try to tell people, even in a jiu-jitsu sense, hey, before I go into a match, I have to mentally prepare myself that if they don't tap, I break it. Oh, why do you have to mentally prepare? Dude, don't be a tough guy. Have you ever seen someone's arm break? No, I haven't either. Like, I don't know how I'm going to take that.
Yeah.
But I have to know that if they don't tap or give me that option, I'll have to sleep them. I'll have to this and that. It's weird watching people get slapped and wake up. Like, that shit's freaky, man. I don't know about other people, but to me, that shit freaks me out. Like, I'm not in it to hurt them. I'm in it because that's what I love to do. But I have to know that if I go there, we're going there. You know what I mean?
Be willing to do things other people aren't.
Yeah.
You can't have like remorse for some of these people because at the end of the day, it's me or you. And I've definitely learned that throughout my like experiences with things because I've been on the receiving end of beatings as well, you know. And I'm like, shit, like, and it fucks you up, you know. Like you get hit enough times, you're like, oh fuck, like.
Dude, I don't even let people, if we're doing takedowns in my class, I don't even let people help them up. They're like, why? I'm like, nah, you technical, get up yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Oh, why you gotta be that? Because this is what we're like, guys. This is kind of the name of the game. You know what I mean? And like, that's why, like, you ever heard Dean Thomas's breakdowns of fighters? Like, he has categories for what he considers fighters to be. Mm-hmm. So he says he has competitors. I think this I'm butchering one of them. All right, he has competitors, fighters, and artists.
Yeah,
and you can totally tell. Israel Adesanya, he's an artist.
Yeah.
You know, you could tell when some guys, they fight like Anthony Johnson. He says he's a competitor. And you listen to Anthony Johnson talk, he's like, yeah, I don't love this shit. I'm just good at it, and I'm just good at knocking people out.
Yeah.
So he's a competitor. He likes to compete. And you could tell, like, the people that come up, or there's some people who are just fighters. You know, Diego Sanchez, he's a fucking fighter.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
So he breaks down that, like, that's what he, like, labels people as. Like, here in Utah, bro, you're a fucking artist, bro. Like, you see this differently. But just because you're an artist don't mean you're sweet. You know what I mean? Like, your strike is sweet, but like, but you have to, man. This is the name of the game. Like, there's certain things that, like, cutting weight. I'd be like, don't cut weight. But if I'm getting paid, I'm cutting weight. You know what I mean? Like, shit like that. Like, that normal people, why would you do that to yourself? Well, you don't know it because you're not in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you're not in it, so you don't get it, man. And there's also a point where you have to be a little bit uncomfortable, you know? You look into, like, Dominic Cruz talk about it. He's like, yo, I cut weight. It puts me in a bad state. It puts me in that mental state. It sucks. I have to run more. It gets that edge going. Some people need that, you know? I'm just telling you what they tell me, and I'm like, that's these categories that when people, you know, what gets them in there, because it's all about the journey for the people. It's not like you being a martial artist is going to be your lifetime, but you being a competitor, like fighter, is, you know,
a short window.
A short window
of opportunity for sure.
And you understand when you go to that, you have to know, like, you got to know, like, when you see Israel Adesanya going against Kelvin Gastelum, and he's like, I would die for this.
Right.
You only know that when you do it.
Yeah.
You only know that. You know, that's why I was talking to Lewis about it, and I was like, yeah, man, when you step on those mats, you go to compete, I feel like my true self is there. You know, I find out, am I a bitch? Am I going to quit if somebody's putting pressure? Am I going to rise to the occasion? Am I this? You find out who you are. And I can only imagine in fighting, it's got to be the same way. Like, you know who you really are, bro. Like, you're like, there's no fluff. That saying the mats don't lie. It's got to be the same. It's got to be times 1,000. You're getting fucking punched in the face, but you won't fucking quit. You're getting dominated. Somebody's on top of you. You're tired. And you're like, nah, bro, I'm still in this.
Right.
I'm still in this bitch. What? I'm still going to win? This motherfucker still think, I still gonna win, bro. What do you mean? I still got this. Or you crazy motherfucker. You know what, bro? I don't. That's just the name of the game, right? You know. So, I mean,
there's like a little type of crazy that's, you know, in all of us.
Bro, if you're getting fucking, you're, bro. Like, anybody could, like, not anybody could fight, but if I don't know I have to fight you and I meet you at a bar and you look at me, we fight. Oh, cool. But imagine if I'm like, yo, bro, next week I'm going to fight your bitch ass. And I know you can fight. You know I can fight. Normally, you know, unless you have crazy motherfuckers, guys aren't really like, you know, some guys will be like, yo, let's just talk it out. It's not that big a deal with this and that. But you got to be a little crazy to be like, hey, bro, I'm going to fuck you up. And on top of that, I'm probably going to have my coaches watch all your shit, see what you're good at, still say that ain't good enough, cut all this weight, and still go out there and knock you the fuck out. Like, what? You think you can do that to me? Yeah, bro, I know I could do that to you. And I love it, man. I love when, you know, because that's how I grew up, you know, not with fighting. I'm just saying with, like, watching people like that or being around that shit. I love it because that's ultimately, like, that's how some people are, man. And that's just a crazy mentality to have, but it's the mentality you kind of need to have, right?
Yeah.
You know,
you need to have a dark side. I mean, and I think everybody has a dark side. It's just who's willing to kind of, like, put it out there, you know? Like, I know everybody goes through shit, right? Everybody experiences their own sort of pain, and it's just, like, how you filter it through your lens. And you know, for me, it's like, I know that if I didn't have this, I don't know what else I would do. You know, I look at it, I'm like, well, do I want to work like a 9 to 5? Do I want to, work for somebody else and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, I personally know that's not for me. And I know that I would be miserable, and I probably wouldn't even be alive if I didn't have this stuff. And it's the thing that makes me feel good. It's the thing that makes me feel like I'm doing something right, especially when I can like share the information that's been shared to me. There's a lot of value in this stuff. And like I was saying this to Pat yesterday about how you can basically, you can take a whole group of people from a wide demographic from all over the place. It doesn't matter your skin color, it doesn't matter your gender, it doesn't matter your beliefs, your political views, or whatever. You got all this shit going on today, like all over the world, and it doesn't really matter what your opinion is. It's like we all come together to get better. We all come together to like work on something, whether that is self-defense, whether that is competing, whether that is just to lose some weight. Like, it doesn't really matter what reason you're here for. You're here for a reason to, and I honestly, it's like that progression, like that's why I say like my purpose is progression, and I don't like going backwards. I don't like, because I know what it's like to fall, and I know what it's like to lose, and I know what it's like to feel like at the lowest point of your life. And I'm sure there'll be more. That is how life is, but it's like learning how to deal with those ebbs and flows and how to get better as an individual. And then as you get better as an individual, then you can begin to help other people around you. And like when you see people struggling like on the mat, or you see people struggling in life, like you feel more in tune with yourself to go and actually help those people. Because I feel like when you've been helped and you know that it made a difference in your life, you are now equipped to help other people in certain, like you might see them like older versions of yourself, and you're the most able to help the person that you once were. So I do think that that's like important to.
That's so true.
It's all life goes in cycles, right? That's what they say. It's not like a linear line. So like you're gonna have amazing to okay to, as much as it's like, oh, that's such it's not negative, it's just realistic.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
And it's like, but this time you might have a better squad. This time you might have better things that pull you out of it. And what I've learned from jiu-jitsu or from watching people in this kind of community, how much of a team aspect and how much people are there for you no matter what, and the relationships you make with people. Because I genuinely believe you find the true person when you train with somebody, when you watch them train, when you watch them fight, when you watch them compete. You get a better understanding of who that human being. Are there still douchebags in the community? Absolutely. But you do a better job of weeding it out. And when you do that, I personally believe we're stronger together as human beings as opposed to doing stuff on our own. So I always love the concept of a team everything, As much as like when we compete, we go out there by ourselves. But when we're doing it together, I like having my squad. I like having my team. Like, I'm like, yo, let's have 4 guys on the podcast. Let's not just have you and me. Why? Because I think that it's better for just everything. I just like it more. Like our whole motto of the podcast is, if it's not fun, we're not going to do it. Yeah. That's it. That's simple. If this isn't fun, we're not going to do it. So when you see people like you that, you see and you want to help people, like, that's amazing, because you find so many good relationships. You find bad ones, but that's life, right? You can always find bad ones, but you want to find these awesome people that you can connect and bond with, that you blood, sweat, and tears. Like, there's going to be all that. And this is actually a pretty good segue, because you have your own gym.
Yeah.
So you guys hearing this, you're vibing with that, man. This guy is a great coach, and talk to me about like your whole concept of like starting your gym, the name of it, the classes that you provide. And because as much as awesome that you're a competitor, there's other stuff that you do out there that, that's very important to you. And I bet having a team is up the list of like things that are important on your grand scheme, right?
Yeah. I mean, so me and 2 other guys, we decided that it was time for us to open our own gyms. We've been training. I mean, I've trained like all over the world, trained all over the country. I have a lot of experience. I've trained with a lot of the best people around here, and I've learned a ton of stuff. And I think what happened was we were just training out of my parents' basement. I used to train at FAA, ended up leaving, nothing bad. It just wasn't working out for me. Still a great school, still great people. It was time for me to move on. And we were training out of my parents' basement, and it was like, it's time to find a spot that we can like build and like grow with, because I didn't want to keep training out of my parents' basement for multiple reasons. But so we opened up Kazushi Combat Club in Hatfield. It's still a private facility where basically we run fight camps out of, and we do offer classes to people depending on skill level and time, because it's a small space, and it was designed for us to work on things that we needed for competition. So we have about 15 guys that are a part of our gym that have come from different gyms that had closed during the pandemic, or just it was closer for them in terms of like distance. So me, Dan McIntyre, Alex Warren, these are two guys that I had known separately, and then we kind of like at Bellator, when I fought for Bellator, I had them in as my cornermen. My coach at the time had asked me like, who do you want in your corner? I had been training with Dan for about 6 months prior to that, and I was just learning a ton from him. The most I had learned in a long time, just consistently every day we'd get together, and it was like he had really opened up my mind and realized like, oh wait, I don't know as much about this. So like, as I sit here and tell you about like, oh, I'm a really good striker, I've been doing this for a while, most of my finishes come from striking, I realized like after all the experience I had with him, it was like, oh shit, like I don't actually know as much as I think I do, and that there's a lot more out there for me to learn. And this guy was that filler that I think I needed, because I had started to get like, I always go through phases, especially being back home, because like I'll like, especially when the pandemic hit, it's like before that I was like leaving for certain months at a time. I went to Thailand for 2 months, I went to Europe for a month and a half, I went to TriStar in Canada for a month. Like every year I would take a trip which would get me away from here to come back with a new perspective, and then I could like apply it to my training. Didn't get that after this during the pandemic, because like everything was closed. Mm-hmm. So Alex used to train with us at Team Link as well, but he was like very young. I mean, he's 21 now, so at the time he was probably like 16, like very young. And but now he's like obviously matured. He's in college. He's a very, very intelligent person, and he's somebody that on the jiu-jitsu side had been teaching me a lot and like helping me build systems that work for me. And so he was somebody that I wanted to be in my corner. He's somebody that I wanted to be around a lot, because it was like we were constantly bouncing new ideas off of each other. We're bringing new things to each other. Hey, this guy's doing this guy's doing this. How can we connect this and create this like spider web effect of like, if we do this, then I do this and this. And then Dan on the other side was doing the other thing. Well, as I also at the time had Jeremy, who was teaching me how to blend everything together, where it wasn't just I'm a striker, I'm a grappler. It was like I was learning mixed martial arts from him. And so I had like I've had like a good group of guys help me kind of like design that. And I felt like it was time for me, where I'm 28 now. It was time for me to kind of like start a new journey and start with these new guys that I've been like, and take them on as like coaches, but also people like partners, where we can like help to kind of spread this information and like kind of do it on our terms now. We opened up KCC, and at one point we were going to expand it, but we decided that we would lose focus on the importance of like training for my fights, because that was ultimately the goal. Like we do want to help people, and that is like we would love to help anybody that we can, but especially for Dan and I, we are trying to fight at the highest level. He wants to coach high level fighters. He doesn't necessarily want to coach like people who just want to learn. He will teach people, and he has taught people, and he's helped progress a lot of our guys who are like newer to striking. He is just like, these guys are like, even for me, like I've gone into gyms with guys who've been training for a while, and I can just tee off on them. And our guys now who've like had maybe like 6 months of experience are like,
that's wild,
hard to hit. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? This dude's been striking for like 4 months, 6 months, like, and I can't hit him. How come?
Yeah.
Well, it's just the way that we look at it. It's like, we always talk about this as a gym. It's the approach, and like everybody has a different recipe. There's a million different ways to skin a cat. We just found a way that works really well for us, and this is what I felt worked well for me. And so this is the decision that we made, and this is how KCC kind of became what it is. I mean, obviously we're still small, and I'm like we have another guy that's going to be moving into his he's going to make a pro debut, but he's the only other fighter. We have a ton of grapplers, and we have other guys that are just doing it, but they're consistent. They show up, they work hard.
That's awesome.
They don't bitch and moan. They just do what we ask them to do. And, it's all about the environment. So,
and Alex is, I watched his grappling match, right? At top level, and boy, he looked amazing.
Yeah.
I think I told you, he doesn't even compete that much either.
No, he doesn't. That was his first time in years.
Yeah, and he went up against Stapleton, who's a black belt, boy, I was really impressed with Alex.
Grappler, well experienced. Yeah, that kid is fucking Alex good, man. What?
Yeah. He was very impressive for sure.
Dude, he's like what, $115, right?
He's 145. Yeah, he's 145.
Okay, I'm sorry, bro. I'm a
quarantine weight.
I'm a sizes, bro. No. I rolled with him the first time, and I'm like, oh, I don't like putting my weight on guys. And this motherfucker like heel hooked me like it. Bam, bam.
Yeah,
I was like, man, fuck that. I was trying to smash. I was trying to put pressure on him. He was like, no problem. It's no problem. And I'm like, damn. And I sat with Manley. I was like, oh, yo, Nate Ghareeb dropped in. This is when he dropped into the old gym with Alex and Will Chaka and all them. And I was like, yo, I met up with Nate Ghareeb dropped in for like an open, I forget what it was, for like an open mat or something. And I was like, yeah, he had this kid Alex with him. He was a little skinny kid, and he was. I was like, I didn't want to put my weight on him, and he was tapping me left and right. And Manley was like, yeah, bro, you got to smash that little mo. He's like, you got to smash that kid. He's like, yeah, when I go against him, he's like, I put my whole weight on it. He's like, no, that little fucker. Yeah. He's like, yo, he'll be going for stuff on you and not. He's got a great leg lock game, great mind, bro.
Very good entries too.
Really good, man. Yeah, I watched
impressive.
It's tough to leg lock Stapleton, man. So that was a tough match, but he's got another one coming up too, top level.
Yeah, he's competing against Mike Kimball.
Mike Kimball?
Yeah.
He's man, that kid is nasty.
MMA fighter.
Yeah, MMA fighter. Yeah, former Bellator.
And Alex is again. He's just a purple belt. I think he was telling me. At the table, and I was sitting with one of the black belts that I know. And he asked Alex, he's like, what belt are you? Not that it matters, but Alex was like, I'm just a purple.
Some people, man.
And he was like, what? Purple?
Yeah, dude, that kid is nasty, bro.
Yeah, that's cool, man. You got a good training partner for as far as jiu-jitsu goes.
I mean, like he really helped me revolutionize. During COVID, we would get together at my apartment in Enfield, and I had the rollout mats. I have a 12 by 12 with 3 sections, and we have one section that I bring in, and every morning at the start of COVID, all the gyms are closed. There's nowhere to go. That
was better than what I had. I had rainbow pretzel mats.
Man, we didn't even train. We trained at the park. We trained in the park on grass.
Yeah,
Springfield, Mass.
That's what you do,
Forest Park.
That's what you do. When you're doing this stuff, it's just it's about evolving.
We tried to put tarps. But that didn't last. We tried to pin them in and stuff.
Yeah, we did everything we could. I said, fuck it.
Yeah, after 30 seconds, it's all everywhere. You're like, fuck, man, this sucks.
So, that's awesome. He had those mats ready. But,
we, he taught me. He asked a lot of good questions at that point. He decided to take a semester off of college, and we were just drilling every day. And he started asking me, I was starting to get good because I was training with Tim Babiak in 2018, and Tim really helped me evolve my game a lot. He's also another guy, a local guy that is very unknown if he hasn't just showed up at your gym, but he knows a lot. And after my loss to Nick Fury, he really helped me understand jiu-jitsu on a different level.
Mm-hmm. And Nick Fury's he's a beast. I've trained with him too at John's class in New York, and
he's extremely good.
Very good.
At that time, I think he was junior world champion 2 or 3 times or something like that. They said he's good and he's a beast, and I have a lot of respect for him, and I actually have more respect for the guys that I've lost to, not because they beat me, but because they taught me more than anybody else. I think they've taught me more about myself. They taught me more about the sport, and that's why it's people are I hear people get all mad about people they lose, and that's the competitor, and of course I'm a competitor and I don't like to lose, and of course I'm damn, I know I could have beaten that guy, I know I could have beaten this guy. But it also taught me what I need to work on and how I can get better, and I don't think I would be at the level I am if I had just cruised through all these guys.
Oh, no.
It definitely my jiu-jitsu, I have to, obviously it was my doing, but losing to Matt Biena and then losing to Nick Fury by armbar back to back really taught me that I need to apply myself more in the grappling realm. I really do. I need to go and I got to learn. And that's what led me to Tim. And then I left Tim's, and that led me to studying the DVDs and really focusing on how I can get better. And then when I started working with Alex, it was now the game's just completely changed, because he's teaching me all these different ways and asking me questions when you get here, what do you do? When you take someone down off a single, what's your move? And it was oh shit, I don't really know. Going back and learning the foundations of what is the defense? Because if I'm getting submitted, then there's a problem. Well, how do you stop these things? It's not just you do this when this person does this. It's how do you be Tim implanted this in my head? How can you be preemptive? How can you be ahead of the game before? How can you be ahead before this person's attacking? And it was just going all the way back to foundations, and just something as simple as stay tighter in everything you do. Don't don't reach out to do all these things. Don't leave things behind. And it's those things planted the seeds that helped me to progress forward and learn, so that I could start teaching myself.
It's that analytical thinking too,
I get so mad when I watch people teach and they're like, oh, you do this and then you do that. And I go, but why? Why did I do that? Because that's what you do. Tran was Tran and Pat were the first ones to be like, actually have like right and reason to be like, hey, this is why, you know what I mean? This is why you grab right here and here. And a lot of people are missing that. Like they just rush over it or they don't explain. I'm like, why? Why am I doing that? Because this is like, because you do that. Right. Well, that's why this is known as barbaric, because there's no right or reason or no structure to how you guys do it. You just decide one day you're going to teach this and then you're just going to bullshit it and then you're just going to roll.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's easy to get caught up in, like, when you learn a certain amount and you think you know everything or you know a lot, then it's like, okay, well, I'll just keep kind of just throwing out the same shit. But as everything in life, things evolve, they improve, they get better. And, like, if you do something, someone's eventually going to learn how to stop that. Always. So that forces 100%. You to get better. And I think that's, like, one thing that was also a huge learning lesson for me.
Absolutely, man.
Dude, you ever had a person ask you a question about a technique and you realize you don't know what the fuck you're teaching?
Oh,
you're
yeah.
like, what? Why here? Oh, shit. I don't know.
You have to.
Well, why are you teaching it then? Oh, you're right. Why am I? Oh, man, I'm not. And we say this saying a lot in this podcast, but it's being a student of the game. Mm-hmm. Like, it must be great when somebody can just send you technique videos of striking and be like, this is why we're doing this for this. Oh, yeah. And then you can start seeing it. And I try to tell, like, the new people, I'm like, you need to watch as much jiu-jitsu. I don't care if you don't understand it. Eventually, when you watch people roll or you do roll, you'll realize that you're in the same positions and patterns and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you like, I call it the matrix. I say you download this into your matrix. You see Neil, he can see all that extra stuff so he can do a cheat code. When you start downloading stuff into your matrix, it makes more sense. So you might not know how to get out of side control or 50-50 or what, but if you see enough of it, you'll be, oh, shit, I'm in 50-50.
Right.
And now it's not as confusing. And now you can take your time and understand and start working on your defenses. Because like you said, or like a lot of things, some things are so minor.
Yeah.
It's the sweet.
Subtle differences that could be the difference between getting tapped or just tapping someone else out.
Don't center your body that way. What? That's all you have to do. You keep giving him that angle. That's all. That's all it is. Right. That angle. What? That one angle. Once you stop that, you'll negate a lot of things. Then they roll and they see, oh my God, that's it. That's all it is. I keep getting submitted in close guard. Put your arms back. Yeah, don't give your arms out. Right. That's it. What? You just took away how many submissions?
Just that little minor detail just changes everything. You know?
Everything, man. Everything. And the people don't understand that. And you have to be a student of the game. And you have to put your circle has to be on that same mind wave, like that same wavelength of thinking, right?
Right.
Because like you just start what's it called? Not acclimating. What is that? Assimilating. You start taking people's mannerisms and acting like them and thinking like them.
Oh yeah, you become when you're involved in a specific environment, you start to become the people that you're surrounded by.
And it must feel great when you're around analytical, super smart thinkers.
Right.
And you don't have to rely on, of course it's good to be strong. Of course it's good to be in shape. Of course it's good to know you have that dog. But let's not always get to that dog, right?
Right. No, 100%. Well, that's a funny thing. I just said this to somebody else the other day. I think it was after one of my fights. It might have been like I fought in Vermont and beat this guy that wasn't very good. But my dad doesn't like fighting. He doesn't. He's a very much like a very conservative person in terms of like he doesn't fight. He doesn't talk shit. He's not a negative person. He's very positive. People call him Mr. Happy. And he came up to me after a fight and was like, "Are you sure this is something that you want to keep doing?" He's like, "They're only going to get bigger. They're going to get stronger, and they're going to be more dangerous." And I was like, "Well, then I'm just going to have to be smarter than them." Because it's like, I know I'm not the most physically like gifted person. Like I'm not the most explosive. I'm not the strongest. I'm not the most powerful. But I know that if I can outthink you, then I can beat you. I mean, and that's pretty much how human beings evolved in the first place, right? Like they weren't the most powerful creatures. Like they had to learn to adapt to their environments and like figure out different ways to, I mean, look at us now. Like if you break it down, it's like human beings are the most powerful creatures on the planet for now, you know, at this point. I mean, on land. Yeah. I mean, isn't
that funny that we have to seize failure and in order to grow? You know, I feel like a lot of, you know, kids today and just people in general, like they're not able to see that because they're just protected. They just don't grow, and gets kind of scary.
That's that saying is like, oh, you learn from all your losses or something, and it's the meme with the person crying like, I'm tired of learning lessons. And you learn every lesson. I'm fucking tired of learning. But it's the truth, man, because like unfortunately, we're like designed to do what makes us feel comfortable and what works. And, and after a while, you can develop bullshit tendencies. And like I say, it's the matrix. It's all your patterns. So if you do a bullshit pattern, that's all you're going to do. And sometimes it takes a real motherfucker to show up to show you, hey, bruh, nah. What you mean, nah? Nah. Well, that's your best shit? Bro, that's not. And then you have to adapt and you have to learn, Like we talk about on this podcast all the time, people talk about like ego and stuff. You have to have a healthy dose of ego, and I hate when people, there's no ego. There's always an ego.
Always an ego.
There's always an ego.
Always an ego.
Let's not.
We all have it. It's all there.
If I don't have an ego, when you whoop my ass, I ain't gonna want to get it back.
Right.
Nah, my ego's gonna be like, nah, we gonna get that one back. But he just fucked me up. I don't give up. I don't care. We're gonna get that one back. Why? Because you're the man. You damn right I'm the man. Well, then how are we gonna get it right? Then how are we gonna get it back?
I'm gonna get him.
Yeah, you have to do whatever he did, negate it, and get better at what you do, which is like a good way to get into it, Nate. For your training, right? I'm always interested because like it's so when they talk about like MMA guys, like you want to work on what you want to work on, right?
Yeah, to an extent, yeah.
And then you want to work on what your opponent does and make a game plan, right? Something like that, right?
A little bit, yeah.
How do you balance that?
So I mean, I guess it kind of just goes back to the whole thing of understanding that I'm not perfect and that everything I do is not perfect. So I have to consistently keep improving and knowing that you see guys who are at the highest level, and if they get stagnant at all, they end up losing. For a while, there were guys who were like the best for like 10 years, and then they would just like fall off. And it's like, people, what's his age? Or he's been doing it for so long. It's like, well, he hasn't changed at all. He's the same person that he was for the last 10 years. He saw one thing that somebody was doing, he kept doing it, and then he kept winning. And if your experiences are going to teach you a lot. So if this is working, you're not going to change. It's when you have those failures, when you have that guy coming to the gym, or you have that loss in a fight that makes you go, wait a second, I'm not as good as I think I am. I have to constantly keep improving and finding ways to improve. I've been fortunate now to have, Dan and Alex, and especially Dan, who's been very big on like, we're not trying to beat like the worst versions of people. We're training to beat the best versions of people. So we have to stay ahead of the curve. And like Tim Babiak used to say to me all the time, you have to keep your finger on the pulse. Where is the game going? And because like if somebody gets better in one area, right? If people are improving in one area, that means they're not improving in another area. So that's the interesting thing about it. Like when you're creating strategies, you see like you said, the patterns, you see patterns that people are used to. And it's like, well, everybody has a weakness somewhere. And it's like every time you train, like you could be the best in the world and you could be very good at everything. But if you're going to allocate your resources to some things more than others. I don't think you should be a jack of all trades. I think it's important to get really good at a few things and just keep practicing it. But it's finding the different pathways to take to succeed in that way. So the balance is really like, I put a lot of faith in Dan. I put a lot of faith in Alex. I put a lot of faith in myself to like find the answers and to test myself in training to find where am I struggling. So when I have a rough day or I'm not succeeding at something, we got to go back, talk about what's not working. How can we do this a little bit better and then grow from there? Unfortunately, Dan is always on the ball with studying and learning and intaking information so that we're constantly fine-tuning where we see, like if in sparring, if something's not working right, or if let's say I'm getting hit more than normal, or let's say I'm getting taken down more than normal, we got to go, okay, well, what's the reason for this and how can we stop this now? Like, that's the importance of putting yourself in those positions. I think it's important it's kind of like what Danner says, it's important to train with lower level guys to kind of work on your offensive. But if you're not practicing your defense where you have guys that are mauling you and taking you down, I mean, that's why I go to Nick Newell's, because when you walk in there, it's never going to be an easy day, especially if you're training with Nick, if you're training with Eddie, if you're training with Justin Sumner, or even some of their amateur guys are very, very good. So if you're not on the ball and you're not ready, you'll find out very quickly, like if I'm not in good shape, if I'm not taking care of my body, I'm not in good shape. If I'm not practicing my wrestling, if I'm not practicing my submission, defense, then it's like something is going to give. And then I got to go back and be like, okay, what's going on? So I don't look to train with the the weakest guy in the room. I try to find the best guy in the room. And if I am training with the weakest guy in the room, I don't go and kick his ass. I go, okay, I need to work on my hook. I need to work on my jab. So I'm going to practice just using this particular tool. If I tap you 3 times in training, then I'm going to start giving you positions. If I tap you more, like if I go, I tapped you, then I'm going to start giving you bad positions so that I have to work my way out of them now. Because if I keep tapping you, it's not going to teach me anything.
That's smart, dude.
You know, if I tap you 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, it's like, how is that making me better at this? I know I can beat you. I know I'm better than you.
That's an
like
ego
today.
trip for people. Yeah. That's all ego. Like, oh,
that's wicked smart training.
I'm the fucking baddest guy in this room. I tapped him like so easily. So,
yeah,
get super tired and let him take your back the whole round, every round. But he's let him get really bad. Let him get deep and stuff, and work your defense. See how good your defense is, right? You know your offense is good.
That's kind of like what you were saying a couple podcasts ago, Daniel. That iron doesn't really sharpen iron.
No. I need to roll with the best guys to know where I'm at and to work on stuff like that. But I also need to work. There's a balance to everything, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, if you're in the gym every day and you're getting your ass beat, then you're probably not figuring out what's going on and you're not trying to like work on it. Because it's hard if you're going against the best guy in the room all the time and you're like losing doing the same thing and you just keep going back and getting your ass beat by the same person. You're not figuring out what's going wrong. And whereas like if you have somebody who's a little bit lower level than you and now you can work your way out of the position, like you're not have that fear of getting beaten every time or fear of losing, then you can start to kind of like pay attention to what's actually happening instead of being in reactive panic mode where your brain is like, it's just doing what it's on autopilot. So it's how you turn off the autopilot so you can like be cognizant of like what's happening and then break it down from there so you can work your way out of positions. And then that's how you pick up like, oh shit, I'm doing this wrong. Or these subtle adjustments come from being aware of like your body in the moment, and you can't do that in a panic state. You're never going to do that in a panic state. You're just going to do what you've trained to do. And so if what you're training to do isn't working at that particular moment with that particular person, you're not going to figure out what the problem is. You're just going to keep doing the same shit over and over again, and you're never going to learn.
And that's what, sadly to say, not to like, I'm the controversial one, but that's what makes you ordinary. What makes a champion is the adjustments that he makes. Mm-hmm. That's what they say. Champions make adjustment mid-fight.
Right. There's
a lot of people that can't change their shit on the fly. You see this one guy, he got that one shit, and that's his. He got that one submission, he got that one position, he got that one whatever it is, and that's all he got.
Right.
And he's going to do it every round, and it's going to work on some people, so he's going to feel good, and if it doesn't work on other people, whatever, I just didn't get it that time.
Right.
And it's all about, your mindset. Like, where you have, I just hate that, that, oh, this is a barbaric, oh, this and that, you're just fighting. Like, my brother doesn't like fighting at all. And I go, dude, you don't even know really what you're watching. Like, I know it's violent, but I'm sorry, human beings are violent. Like, I'm sorry. I personally believe that everybody should train, even if you don't like violence, because it's
inevitable.
It's inevitable. It's just, you got to learn history, and this is the cycle of human beings. This is what we do, you know what I mean? And it is what I'd rather know how to fight than be defenseless and be like, hey, but I'm a peaceful, and the person's like, I don't really give a fuck.
Right.
I'm going to just take what I want, and this is what I'm going to do. Hey, man, put yourself in a better position. Not saying you could win. It just is what it is. But when you really start breaking down the technicality of what you're doing, start training smart like that. Like me and Tran had that podcast. I'm all about structure and being smart. If I'm going against somebody and I'm having a good old time and I'm not learning anything, I didn't progress. I didn't get better. My matrix didn't get better. I didn't do anything. I'm just doing the same shit, bro. I'm just repeating that pattern, and that's not going to work for everybody. So how about I roll up against the best guy, and then I go against this newer guy, and now I'm tired. So now I can't rely on my strength, hey, take my back. Hey, mount me. Hey, give me a mean crossface. Hey, get my arm. And then we'll work. Oh, what he taps. I don't care. Who cares?
Right.
Like these people have so many gym stories. I'm the baddest man in the gym. Like, dude, you don't get paid to be the baddest man in the gym.
Right.
Yeah,
sorry.
Kind of going back in the what we were talking about earlier. It takes a team,
A team.
Not just yourself.
You should be. Team is when you train with somebody and they have a good day. They have a good day. They're not gonna rub it in your face unless unless you guys have that camaraderie. You know what I mean? And then then knowing like, yeah, he had me today, but I get him back. Like but it's supposed to be fun.
Right.
Yeah. I know that there's a lot of days where this shit isn't fun because it can't always be fun, man. It sucks. Right. Who wants to get hit? Right. Who wants to get you know what I mean? Who wants to be tired and fatigued? But at the end of the day, it's fun and we love it and it makes us our true ourselves. That's why we come back. But if you don't have that team. That is, if you're going there and you're trying to do like meathead shit and stuff like that, bro, why? What, you know what I mean?
It's definitely lonely for sure. And like I've been there for sure with like not having a team because I bounced around from place to place, and it wasn't until I got to FAA that I actually had eventually had started to build that.
How much better do you get when you're comfortable?
You don't.
Yeah.
You don't. And I've seen it with guys like over the years training in different places. The guys that didn't want to push themselves in training, they made excuses for why they couldn't be there, or they'd only come in once or twice a week when they knew they had a fight or something going on. It's like, dude, at the end of the day, like you do what you do, but I've definitely, especially with wrestling, I know like the days that I wasn't working hard and the days that I wasn't training as much as I should have, like even in my fight with Matt Biana, like I wasn't prepared for that fight. And I thought I was going to walk all over that guy. I really did. Like I had some injuries, and I still decided to take the fight, and I was like, like I think I can beat this guy, like for sure. But I was underprepared, and I was underprepared in a lot of ways, and I learned, and it was hard because it's like it's in front of your friends, your family, and it's not like he didn't beat me up or anything. I think I pretty much beat him up a lot, but he submitted me, and I can say all the shit I want. I beat him up, I punched him in the face X amount of times. He still beat me and won a belt for it in front of my friends and family. I was winning that whole fight, and then I got beat. And it's like you realize like you can't half-ass any of this shit. You can't just think I'm gonna walk in there and beat people up. You can't. It's just not a good way to be, you know.
No, and I was talking Lewis and Pat. Two quick things about that not being prepared stuff, because it's true. You know, a lot of people, it happens. Life happens, right? Pat's thing is when it comes to training, right? He puts us in tough positions, but he says, hey, you're gonna compete. That's like, that's your thing. You got to do it. But he says, hey, you have one opponent. Don't make it two.
Yeah.
Don't make it cardio. Don't make it that shit. Don't have two. Why do that?
Right.
And then Lewis, I was on to him and I was like, man, just on this latest podcast I dropped with him, I was like, dude, I hate losing in front of you. I hate disappointing you because I know you have so much faith in me. And he's like, bro, the only reason I get mad at people is when they don't respect the sport by not being prepared.
Right.
And not even, he didn't say sport. He said martial art. He's like, that's the only thing that gets me mad. You going out there, I don't care if you go 0-5. He's like, that doesn't bother me. What bothers me is if I know you're not prepared and you weren't trying before you had this coming up and you disrespect the martial art.
Right.
It's just crazy. But that's like, especially like fighting, it must be tough because it's not like you're professional, but you don't have like basketball has like we talk about like jiu-jitsu, like professional jiu-jitsu athletes. Jiu-jitsu and stuff like that is the only sport where you can go with amateurs, guys off the street, hobbyists. Like you wouldn't see that in basketball. You don't see those guys have structured camps, personal trainers, all that stuff. And fighting is one of those that right now in the phase that it is in is like, yeah, there's big camps and stuff like that, but still you still can train, like you still can open your own gym and do rounds with hobbyists or guys that aren't really about it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's just crazy to see the levels that it's going to, but how training is like you structure your camp, you do this, you do that. That's got to be really tough, man.
Yeah, I mean, it can be stressful for sure.
Yeah.
And it definitely helps to have people that can help structure it for you. Because especially now that we're owning the gym, it's like there's a lot of shit going on. That's like always been the issue, and I've seen it with other guys who've owned gyms and fight. It's like
I couldn't think about doing both, bro. Right?
You're splitting your time. This is the way I see it. It's like if you're a coach, you're selfless. When you're a fighter, you're selfish, and it's like it's 100%. All about you as a fighter. And when you're a coach, it's all about your students, and you want to do what's best for your students. So when you're doing both, it's very, very difficult. And it kind of takes away it's the chasing two rabbits. The Chinese proverb, like if you chase two rabbits, you'll catch neither. And I think it's being like mindful of like what role do you really want to take. And so even though we've opened our own gym, it was at a point where I was giving so much and trying to structure practice and do all this stuff where I wasn't getting my training in and I wasn't having time to train with Dan, that we had to like reel it back in and remember like what do we really want to accomplish? Like is it to really own this like local gym and like create this big thing and like make all this money or make money at all? And it was like no, like our goal, the money is going to come from fighting. The success is going to come from fighting. If we own a gym later, then more people will come because this guy fights in the UFC or this guy fights in Bellator or whatever, whatever it is. But right now it's like being focused on the fight and like keeping like our guys, like making sure that they're aware that this is what the focus is. And if they're cool with that, they can chill with us and train with us and get better with us. And if they feel like they need someone else to put more time into them or they're trying to do something similar, it's like, we'll give you everything we can for with what we have. Like, it's all about allocating resources. But, like I would certainly, like, if like some of our guys were like, oh, well, I feel like I'm not getting enough training, I'd be like, okay, well, here are all these other gyms. These are the ones we've trained at. These are ones that we think would be good for you. Like, if we had a jiu-jitsu guy, would be like, for sure, would be like, hey, like, you should check out 10th Planet. Like, they have competitors. They have guys that are actually showing up every single day, and they'll put a beating on you. So if that's what you're looking for, not in a bad way, like, you know, like, make you better. They'll make you better. They won't beat your ass. They're all good people. They're all great people.
Step to me,
Just
bro.
be careful with that Daniel guy.
Step with me, and I'll flick. No, just joking. I'm an instructor. I can't talk like this. Ask him like Daniel. I was just joking. It's jokes.
They'll make you better, and they'll push you in the direction that you're looking for. I'm saying, like, same thing. If you're trying to be like a professional fighter, you're trying to be an amateur fighter, I would be like, go check out FAA, because those are the experiences that I've had. These are the 2 best schools in the area to progress you for the specific thing you're looking for. You know, these are people like I said, just because I left FAA doesn't mean I don't think that Jeremy's a great coach and he has a great camp for people. I think I would definitely tell guys, hey, if you think this is where, if you think you want to, that we don't offer what you need, please check them out. They have tons of guys there that'll work with you, and they have a solid team of guys that are fighters. So, like, check them out, you know, like, but it's also being mindful. Like, I'm not going to let my ego get in the way just because, like, I think, oh, my way is the way. So if you're not with me or against me, like, please, if you feel like I'm not giving you what you need, I understand that, because I have been there. But also, like, this is number 1 to me. Fighting is number 1. It's always been number 1. I told that to my wife when I met her before she was my wife. I was like, hey,
you gotta let them. You gotta.
Fighting is number 1. It's number 1, and it will always be number 1 until it's over. So. And she respected that, so I have to respect it on the other end by making sure people understand that. Like, I'm not going to tell you I'm going to coach you and be there for you and do all this stuff for you and program everything out for you if I cannot do that. I know there are people that will. I know that, like, Pat and you and Lewis and Tran they can do that stuff for you. They can help you with that stuff. You guys can help people if it's jiu-jitsu. I bet, hey, Jeremy, he'll teach you the stuff that you need to do. If you're trying to fight, he'll help you. He'll make you the person you need to be to get in the cage. Like, I might not have those options. If you want to train alongside me and get better, I will teach you everything I can, but I don't have the time to just give you everything. Like, if you want to do one-on-ones, great, excellent. I'll help you out as best I can. But we're fight focused, and it's, you know, or I'm competitive focused. And if you want to, you know, join in and get better alongside us, and, like, you know, excellent. Like, we'd love to have you. But I also know there are other people who have different focuses, different priorities, and they can help you better than we can in that specific area or whatever it is you're trying to do. So I just want to see, for me, I just want to see everybody get better. If you get better, I get better. If he gets better, I get better. If the guys at FA get better, if the guys at NESF get better, if the guys at Team Link get better, we all get better. And that was a conversation that I had with Pat on the other podcast about this area, being able to, like, cross train and train with the different teams and push each other, because at the end of the day, I don't care if we opened a gym and we were just competing with everybody here and we wanted to beat all you guys. It's like, that's not my goal, and I know that's not your goal, and I know that's not FAA's goal, and I don't know if that's Team Link's goal. I don't know if that's NESF's goal. Like, whatever it is, my goal isn't to be better than them. My goal is to be better than the guys on the other side of the ocean, to beat the guys. If I have to fight somebody from Russia, China, if I have to fight somebody from, you know, Tennessee or, you know, California, like, I want to be ready to beat them. My pride is not to beat the local guys. I don't care about the local guys. No offense to you guys. Keep doing what you're doing, but my goal is not to beat you guys. It's not to be the best around. I'm not trying to be a local hero. I'm trying to be a world champion. So
that's what's up, man.
I just want to see everybody rise to the occasion, because I think, like, we were talking about this before, there's a lot of potential around here. There's a lot of great people. I've trained with between the 3 of us, probably the 3 of us here as well, but between Alex, Dan, and I, we've trained at every gym in this area, and we see that there's a lot of potential in each camp, each training camp. There's a lot of potential, but I think being able to cross train with everybody and be on a friendly note, and not my ego get involved with this guy's ego or this guy's ego, or, like, trying to beat your guy or my guy. It's like, I don't care about that. If you beat my guy up, good. I have data. I can go back and say, okay, this is what we need to work on. If you beat my ass today, I got to go home and say, okay, this didn't go well, but what can we do better next time? And that's how we're going to improve. Because, like, yeah, 15 guys is great, and we can progress, and we can certainly enhance our drills and improve. But like you said, if I don't see the patterns, like, if you get me in a heel hook, if you get me in a guillotine choke, if you get me in something funky, like, shit, I've never seen that before. Okay, now I have data to say, now if somebody hits that on me in competition, I don't freak out and go, what the fuck? Because again, if you hit a panic state, your mind, you're not going to be in a flow state to start to figure it out. If you've never seen that before, your body's going to go, oh shit, what is that? Like your brain will literally not compute what the fuck is going on. And it will go, fuck. And that's where you see guys freeze. They could get knocked out. They could get choked out. They could get their fucking leg broken because they've never seen that before.
It's that the fight or flight, right?
Fight or flight. 100%. You go into a panic state, and like that's one of the things that like fighting itself has taught me. It's that like you're going to do what you train to do. It's like we talked about with patterns. If you've only seen certain patterns, your brain will recognize that. It's the reticular activating system. If it's seen it before, it'll see it again and it'll know what to do. But if it doesn't see something that's never seen before, like that's why funky guys who do this like crazy shit that you've never seen, it's like, whoa, they catch these dudes, even high level guys, because they're like, well, I've never seen that before. They might have hundreds of guys come through the gym, never seen them do it that way, you know? And that's something that I think people need to pay attention to. And that's like the science of it, like how human beings, how our brains function, how we like, it's not just, it is an art, it's a science. It can be barbaric at times, but understanding like the human behavior is so important to like what we do, because that's what we're doing. We're competing against other human beings. You know, it's not like we're wrestling boar or we're wrestling like cattle, you know, we're wrestling, jiu-jitsuing, we're fighting other human beings. How does a human being react? How does a person, like, how do they function? And then you can break it down from there. And I think if you break them down from the inside, then you can break them down on the outside. That's always been my mentality. So
yeah, man, absolutely.
Wow.
And to break down something that you said in there about like competing and you're not worried about the local guys. Hey, local guys, there's levels to this, all right? Like, let's not take out the bullshit. You're just not at that level where if you're only focusing on your local, that's at your level, that's what you should be focusing on. You know, there's always a time and place for everybody, right? You are going up to a higher level. So your higher level, you want to reach for more. Why? That's what makes you train harder. That's what makes you study more. That's what makes you want to reach. You should be looking at those other guys that are, you know, going out to China, France, all that stuff, bro. That's your level that you're on, and you earned that level. Like, this is the no bullshit sport. You know what I mean?
yeah, absolutely.
So that's how it should be. If anybody's like, oh, well, no, bro, there's levels to it, dude. That's just the game, the name of the game. The higher level he fights, the more money he makes, the more challenge he is, the better he gets. That's how it should be. There's a progression in life for everything. There's a progression in life. Hey, you think that I'm worried about competing against local schools? No, bro. We already did that. We did that to Quintet.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about local schools in Springfield and this and that. No disrespect to those guys come through. We can train. That's fine. That's great. You know, if I'm getting ready for comp, maybe not. Maybe, you know what I mean? It is what it is. But when it comes to wanting more, I want, you know, more. you want more.
Yeah.
That's how human beings are designed, right, Tran? It's like this. Let's go. We want those hard roads in New York City. We want those hard roads. You know, like why limit yourself by only seeing what's around you?
Right.
You know, there's a higher ceiling for you, and you should be striving for that. And then that's gonna push guys because there's a motherfucker watching you like, I want to fight against that guy one day. I gotta earn that, and that's gonna push him. And that's where the progression of life goes. And that's how it should be, guys. That's how it should be. Like, let's go. Like, you have to get there. So get there.
Right.
Prove it. You want this that bad? There's no handouts in anything.
Yeah, there's no participation awards for this.
Nah, not in this shit, bro. You don't like it? Prove it. You show me something.
Right.
Show me something. Oh, you can't show me, then shut the fuck up. And you can't say that. You can't say that.
Daniel's on a wild and rolling.
I don't fucking dude. Hey man, I told you, man. I'm not. It's the truth. Tran knows, bro. He gets me going in messages and stuff, and I just start going. But it's the truth because a lot of people like, you know, I hate Instagram when it comes to shit like that, like fighting and stuff, like market. I get market yourself, guys. You know, but if you're authentic, you're authentic.
Right.
Be authentic. People like authentic. If you're not authentic, I'm sorry, you're boring. You're boring. It is what it is, bro. Don't try to be something you're not, because that's forced boring. That makes it even look worse. You know what I mean?
100%.
And that's either you had the gift of gab, bro, and you're a shit talker, or you're not. You know?
Right. Yeah.
Right? You know, bro, I'm born with this, bro.
He was born shit talking.
I'm born talking shit, bro. I'm born with it. I don't have to script it, you know? You know, that's why I like wrestling when guys are good on cutting mic promos and shit, like CM Punk. You know, like those guys, you're like, holy shit, you know, this guy got it.
Right.
What's it? It's just it. But that's him. That's fine. You know what I mean? So, local guys, get your shit up. Get your weight up, kid. You know, you ain't at this level. That's fine. Who cares, right? Like that's what you should do. You're like I said, I want to get local guys on that are about it, that are trying to strive for that, because I feel like we can. Like, my goal is not to be better than you. My goal is to bring us up, because if we go up, everybody goes up.
Agreed.
And that's why we all just progress together, man. And that's like the important thing. That's what I see in life, man. I'm just one of those guys that, like, I don't want to put somebody down to get better. I want to get better. But you got to understand, when I do a podcast or whatever, or when I teach jiu-jitsu, your mind frame is different. Like you said, you're selfless.
Right.
But when you're a competitor, bro, when I'm getting ready for comp, bro, don't ask. You can ask me, I'll help you, bro, but I'm rolling. Like, I'm not watching your rolls. I have to roll. I'm sorry, but that's what I have to do. You know what I mean? I have to put in the work. Then when you compete, you get it. Yeah. If you don't compete, you don't get it. Yeah. There's a time and a place. Maybe one day you'll do a competition and you'll understand why it has to be that way. But that's just it, you know? Ain't nothing wrong with it. What do you think, Tran?
Absolutely, man.
Yeah, this guy, he's a silent savage, bro. He's all nice, bro, but he loves all this shit. You took an MMA fight, right?
Yeah, I took one. That was.
Yeah, people don't know. I always be hyping him up, bro. Awesome. You took one at the Hippodrome in Springfield, right?
Yeah, undefeated, 1-0. That's it. Just because. Yeah, just I just know at the time, like
no, fuck that, bro. Tell him how you won.
TKO.
Oh yeah, what round?
That's all good.
What round?
First round.
See, what a legend. He's over here all calm. If we were like in WWE, I'd be the manager. He'd be like that. Yeah. I'm over here like talking shit, but
I don't talk about it because I have to actually do more than one fight. You know, like it's like one of those things that you do. Like
people would do, bro.
Yeah, man. I mean, you gotta give yourself credit for that. Yeah. Most people would never even consider getting into
this guy.
It's,
which is fine. I mean, it's an acquired taste and certainly not. Something that everybody I think should do. I mean, I would never be one to be like, hey, get in the cage.
Yeah.
Do it. Like, no, I'm like, dude, I know what it's like. Like, fuck that. Don't do it if you don't have to. If you got a good job, you're making good money, and you love what you do, fuck it. Stay doing that shit. Don't get into a cage and fight somebody if you don't have to. Fuck that.
Yeah. It's a big risk.
So you TKO'd the guy, huh?
I did, yeah. It was
weight class.
This was
125?
No,
110? Oh, you went 95, huh?
He's making fun of me. If you're listening.
You did lightweight? Nah, no bullshit.
I did.
Okay, all right, no bullshit. I'm sorry.
It was 55 or something like that. But yeah, I just respect fighters, you know, like Nate, you know, I just know for me, it's not for me because I know how much dedication it is. And something like that, if you don't know me, I do have a daughter, you know, she's 13. So for me, that's more of a priority, you know, like I know, like,
listen, old man, we know that you 40-something years old. You ain't thinking about.
I am old too. So.
Yeah, you old. Nah, I'm just fucking with you, bro. I just
an old savage.
Yeah, he is, bro. This is my toughest round right here. Him and Lewis, bro. What? I get so mad, dude. I be fucking swearing at him and shit. Yeah. And I got other guys on the mat. Every time they roll with him, they be swearing too. Like, if they almost sell it, he gets out. They be like, fuck. And like, what's wrong? Like, I want to fucking. And I'm like, yeah, man, you understand, right? I do, you understand.
And then the guys pulled me aside and why is Daniel talking shit about you? You're so nice, man.
Bro, all the time.
Yeah, I know he's a dickhead, you know.
All the time,
can you just like submit him for me? Or,
bro, it's all that, and I'd be like, yo, you don't hear this shit, dude. He'll finish a round with you and like say you're like laying down or like leaning, he'll stand up and like lean right behind you, like his dick all on your face, and just be like this. What? And I'm like, get the fuck off me, bro. Like, all right, we're gonna keep rolling. You want to keep rolling?
That's my secret way of saying like, dude, get up, man. Yeah. You're not tired. Don't be just laying there.
You too light, bro. You too light, bro. Man, shit.
What he's talking about is at the end of the round, if you know we're sparring hard, and if my opponent is just toasted after the 7 minutes or something like that,
he stands over them.
Yeah, so if my training partner like just lays flat on their back, like exhausted, trying to breathe, I'll like purposely like stand right over them, kind of like as if I'm pissing in the bushes. And they get so pissed off.
Dude, and he has like this stupid look on his face. He's like this, huh? He's like this. What? It gets me going. I was like,
that's
bro.
My way of saying like, dude, get up, man. Come on, you're not tired. Don't just lay there. So I don't know.
It pisses me off so much. I just want to swing at him, bro. And then everyone's all coming up to me like, why are you so mean to him? He's such the nicest guy.
Such a nice Asian guy.
Fuck you, man. You don't really know him. You don't know him, but he's a dick. Tran, you had some questions, right?
But yeah, I do have some questions. But I just wanted to touch up like MMA. I just know how dedicated it is. Just being a fighter, you just got to cover all your grounds as far as striking, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, and part of mentally, and then you're physically too. You got to be in tip-top shape, and it takes a lot of dedication. So respect to any fighter, especially Nate. We have him on podcast today. Thank you. But it does take so much dedication, and that's why I don't do it. I enjoy jiu-jitsu. It's one of those things I can just walk into the gym as a hobbyist now. I used to be a competitor, and just do my thing, and then that's it. I just don't understand how people can work a 9-to-5 job, go home, cook, and then sit down and watch TV. Like, that's crazy to me, Like
You forgot have a beer too.
Or-
Watch
yeah.
TV, have a beer.
have a beer.
That beer part sounds nice.
It's, to me, that's just crazy, Like, if you're doing jiu-jitsu, you leave work and then you come surrounded with other buddies, and then you're just rolling in this padded room trying to kill each other. Like, it's to the outside world that's like, what? You're just trying to like choke people out and break people's arms, but it's the best thing ever.
Nicest people in the fucking world too. It's the weirdest thing.
Super nice people.
There's
Why are you so goddamn nice?
Yeah, they're so nerdy too, and they're like get a little nerdy. You're like, Jesus, man, like this is crazy. And I hope that's the progression for jiu-jitsu, is like getting those big analytical mind guys, and like they get away from the steroid acai like sizes everything, because
God.
Oh yeah, my bad. Was it Jesus or was it God? Was it
Crazy.
Jesus or which one? Oh wait,
know.
some people say it's the same thing. Whatever. We're not gonna
Buddha?
get into that. Yeah. I don't know. You're Asian. You can say that. I can't. But
Racist motherfucker.
well, calm down, Tran. So, anyways, you got some questions. We got some questions for
I
you.
do.
Nate. Tran did a little poll thing.
I did.
So we want to fire these off at you and
Yeah.
see what your best answers are.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Are
let's
you
do it.
ready? All right. So I posted a question on my Instagram and I got some feedback. So thank you for those people that did. But I'm not going to name any names. Kind of keep it kind of anonymous too, in case you guys get embarrassed. So here we go. First question, Nate, pineapple pizza? ?
If it's there and I have to eat it, then I will, but I would never go out of my way to eat it personally. I've had it like once or twice. I'm like, oh, that's pretty good, but I'm never like, hey, like people go, let's get a Hawaiian pizza. I'm like, no, fuck that. I want
not
like barbecue
adventurous?
chicken or like some pesto pizza. That's like really my go-to.
Especially after a fight, right?
Yeah. I'm not like, if someone was like, this is what we got, I'd be like, all right, well, let's go find a bar or something. Maybe there's something else to eat.
What is your favorite cheat meal after a fight?
I would say it's either I don't know, probably either barbecue or like barbecue ribs. I love ribs. I love to eat. So that or probably like a chicken pesto pizza. Anything with pesto in it. I love pesto. It's like my favorite thing.
My man said a 3,000 calorie session one. He's like, hey, 3,000 cal. He's like, give me all the flavor. Give me all the bread. I want it all. I want
Carb
it
it
all.
up.
Big fat sandwich. Yeah.
Well, there you go. Have it. All right, here we go. Second question is,
We already went, Tran.
I know, I'm sorry.
Here we go. You can do that third question. Here we go.
Will you walk out to country roads? ?
Yeah. So actually, I have considered that. I think my retirement fight probably, because that's where I started fighting. That's where I finally got the ball rolling, and I feel like that's like a good way to like end it. And I'm hoping that it'll be my final fight in the UFC that I will walk out to country roads as my take me home song. It's done. I've done it. I've done what I wanted to do, and
You heard it, folks.
yeah.
All right. And what's your diet like for fight camp?
Usually in the beginning of it, I emphasize a lot more carbs and protein. And then as I start to get closer to having to cut weight, I do more of like keto, like fat and protein. So, I mean, more chicken. I eat a lot of chicken and beef. That's like my big thing, chicken and beef. But I'm like way more strict in the last like month than I am the first couple months. Is more, like I said, carb based foods just to keep the energy levels up. So.
Yeah, dude, you look fucking ripped, dude.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Still got a ways to go, but we're, it's a process.
Yeah. A little bromance there, No, I'm just kidding. Sorry, Bill.
Shout out.
Shout out to Bill. We love you, man. We miss you, bro.
He's going to be like, what are you guys even talking about? Bill, when you know, you know.
Ooh. What's it like stepping in the cage for the first time?
So interesting. I had an exhibition fight was the first fight. I did it in Pennsylvania, and it just felt natural to me. But then when I had to fight for the first time, my first like sanctioned MMA fight, I actually froze in the fight. I didn't realize how much different it was in front of the crowd, and to be like with someone that like is actually going to come at, like, not that the other guy wasn't trying to, because the guy was trying to take my head off, but this guy came at me. And fortunately I had trained enough and had been consistent enough in my training that I just went on attack mode, because after the third shot he hit me with, I was like, all right, fuck it, I gotta just kill this man. And then I did, and I don't even really remember what happened because I just blacked out and just started punching this dude's head off. So
You're just in that zone.
yeah, but it was scary. It was definitely scary. I thought it was going to be something different. And I was like, oh shit, this is not the same thing that I've experienced before. So Yeah, I was definitely worried, but like I said, train properly, and you'll be there. You'll be doing what you need to do.
Do you think like the worst that's going to happen before you fight?
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, I think it's important to it's your brain basically just analyzing and saying, okay, well, if this happens, then what happens? Like, what am I going to do? You're always trying to plan for the worst case scenario, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's good. I don't think you should fight it because you start to, I think that's like where the visualization, you can start to pick up on things you might not be, like your brain will start going to, well, what if he does this? And it's like, okay, well then I can just do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
If he does this, then I can do this and this and this. And then, but if I just, it's like kind of being preemptive, you start thinking, oh, well, if I'm just in a good position and I use my distance properly, he's not going to hit me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I certainly do. I definitely have those like, oh shit, this could happen. But it's actually, as I've progressed forward, it's become a lot easier to just like accept it and let it pass, come and go,
Nice. Let's see. What made you interested in MMA?
I think, like I said, my coach had mentioned it before, my wrestling coach from high school. And then as I started to like really look into it, I started to, I think at first it started off with like the popularity of it and like I like and really enjoyed like the attention from it. I thought it was pretty cool to be like, oh, I'm a professional fighter, like I could be the man. So I was like really interested in that, and that was right when Conor McGregor was like coming up. So it was like everybody was like, Conor McGregor, he's like a knockout artist, he's so cool and all this shit. And I was like, man, I'd love to be that guy,
Yeah.
So I think it was, well, I think one of the things that made that so big for me was seeing somebody that had so much confidence to just do what he wanted and say whatever he wanted and just be who he was. And that was something that spoke to me, just like having the confidence to just live the way you want to do. Like, remember I was saying before, that fear of walking into a cafeteria, being terrified of people surrounding you, and then to be able to not be afraid of all that stuff, or if you are going to be afraid, how you can better handle that so that you're not walking through life terrified of everything that's going to happen to you. So it was an accumulation of a lot of things for sure.
Like a stage fright kind of?
I don't know if it was stage fright, but just like, it was kind of like you were just saying about the worst case scenario of things, like thinking like, maybe like not thinking you're good enough.
Okay.
Maybe wanting to be more and like being seen as more, as opposed to being like, just being a nobody or being a wallflower or just kind of disappearing, or like just like nobody knowing who you are. And so I feel like that's one thing that definitely fuels me, and just a reminder, it's just like, do something that's worth doing. If you have a short time frame here, we don't know how long, and like, God forbid something happens, like I may not be here tomorrow. I hope I am. But while I am here, I want to do something that's worth doing to me, and something that I enjoy, and something that hopefully will leave like a legacy long enough to, like will survive long after I'm gone.
That's deep, bro. That's deep. All right. Who are your biggest influences?
Oh God, there's a lot. This is when you, thinking about this question, it's I would say like people like Tony Robbins has been like a huge influence on me. Like I have a lot of different, like I do a lot of reading, so there's a lot of different authors and like speakers that have had like a huge impact. And Tony Robbins was one of like the first that really helped to like shape my perspective of the world, and see how I can like kind of improve. So like people like Tony Robbins, Simon Sinek, his books have been super influential to me. Tom Bilyeu from Impact Theory, huge influence. There's a lot. I mean, I could go on all night.
Yeah,
so.
fuck. I gotta step up my book game. I don't know any of these. Fuck. All right. Who's your favorite jiu-jitsu grappler / MMA fighter?
I would say probably Gary Tonin.
Hell yeah.
I'm a huge Gary Tonin fan.
Same.
I think he's got fantastic wrestling. He's got obviously fantastic jiu-jitsu. His striking is getting a lot better. I'm a huge fan of Gilbert Burns. Huge fan of GSP.
GSP.
I mean, yeah. I mean, like I appreciate any of the guys who take jiu-jitsu and like apply it and be like very submission heavy guys that can like finish dudes on the ground.
Kind of going off that, I think you've trained with GSP too, right?
Yeah. I trained with
Nice.
GSP in 2019.
Wow.
Yeah, I got to take one of his wrestling classes. I got to roll with him.
Dude, how was that? Nice.
It's pretty crazy. Yeah, because it's like you see when he walked into. I can still remember when he walked into the room for the first time, and it's like he just has an aura about him. It was almost like he glowed. You know, like, and all the other guys that, like, I was living at TriStar, and I was living with other guys who were just about to make their pro debuts. So we all kind of had that, like, envisionment of him as being this guy. But he was, like, super fucking nice. Like, one of the nicest guys I've ever met. Like,
did you get starstruck?
I mean, like, when I saw him, yes. Like, I felt like a little kid. I was like, oh my God, it's GSP.
You're like, that's fucking GSP.
But, like, when I got to roll with him, it was just like, I'm going to try and do my best.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that was, like, cool. I mean, like,
That's awesome.
He's not like, he does not have an ego at all that I experienced. Like, he was just like chill. He rolled with me. He's like, oh, do you have any injuries? And at that point it was right before I had shoulder surgery. And I was like, oh, my shoulder, but I'm good. Like, just go as hard as you can and beat me up. But he just super nice, like, let me work. And then I worked, and, you know, it wasn't a competitive thing by any means. Like, I didn't, I mean, I put him in some positions. He got out of them.
It's not like any meathead, you know.
No. I mean, like, everyone's like, how strong was he? He's supposed to be super strong. I was like, dude, he didn't use his strength at all. It was all technique. He didn't fucking try to bully me around. Like, he was super kind. And he just, like I said, he just worked. I think I put him in like an electric chair and like was like holding him in the position. And he's like super flexible, and he didn't. It was just like, I was like looking up at him. I was like, oh my God. It's GSP, like,
dude, that dude looking up on his balls and stuff.
Yeah, but it was like, I was never going to submit the guy. You know what I mean? Like, I could try my best, but it was never going to happen.
Dude, his flexibility, I would imagine. It's
impossible.
It's crazy.
You're not going to put him in an electric chair. Like, I put him in the position, but I wasn't like, and he just like worked his way out of it. And I was like,
that motherfucker.
Just gives you hope. And he said, this is the kind thing. He gives you hope, and he takes it right away and just reminds you. It's just like, I'm a nice guy, but you're not as good as me.
Take a seat, bro. Take a seat. Yeah. Nice to you. If you're going to shoot at the king, best not miss.
I'm not impressed.
Damn, that would have been tough. He said, I'm not impressed.
I'm not impressed.
Damn.
Next question is, what motivates you to train?
Fear.
Nice.
100% fear. Fear of losing, fear of getting hurt, fear of missing my opportunity to be better than I know I can be. I think, I'll, aside from loving what I do and loving just every day being able to do what I love, it's the fear of failure. It's the fear of losing. It's the fear of getting beat, and knowing that there are people out there that are training to fuck you up. So if you're not ready, you're going to get fucked up. So it's also the other thing is I want to fuck you up. So I want to be the best. I want to be the best I can be to do that to you. So.
That's for sure good motivation. All right. So besides fighting, what is your other sports or hobbies that you probably want to do?
Well, I love watching movies. I'm a huge
He's a Netflix and chill guy.
Yeah, Netflix and chill.
Ladies, he's married.
Yeah, no, my wife and I, we watch a lot of movies. We go to the movies all the time.
Nice.
It sucked when COVID happened because we couldn't go to the movies as much. We watched, TV series and stuff. But other than that, I love to read. I love to learn. I love to study, just like learning anything I can. I'm huge on learning about human development. That was something that I wanted to do aside from fighting at some point, was to be a speaker or to be like somebody that can like help guide people and help them through problems, just similar how some of the issues that I dealt with, how I can kind of be a form of a psychologist that would, learn about the mind, learn about the brain, learn about human beings, how they interact, sociology, psychology, that kind of stuff. So I'm huge on reading. I'm huge on learning.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Wow. So. Coke or Pepsi?
I'd have to go with Pepsi on that one. I will drink Coke.
You lost me as a fan, dude.
But I do.
Actually,
I'm a Coke guy.
I don't know. This podcast is sponsored by Coke, bro. So,
sorry.
Just got canceled.
Yeah, canceled. No, he didn't mean it.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually,
Coke's
I don't know why. Just there's like this subtle difference in Pepsi. Just like there's something about that like little taste at the end that I like a little bit more than Coke. But if I have a Coke, I'll have a Coke here.
A little sweeter, right?
Yeah.
Little Pepsi, a little sweeter.
I think maybe. Yeah.
Coke's a little carby.
I don't know. I haven't had both in forever.
Don't lie.
I save my calories for beer.
He's lying.
I save my calories for beer.
Last question is here's any mental preparation for MMA?
Yeah. So unfortunately, my strength coach, who is also my mental toughness coach, he just moved to Miami, but I've been working with him since 2017, and he's really big on developing the mindset and developing a strong mind and being able to like endure those tough times. So he would put me through similar to CrossFit, but like with its own little, like his own little niche way of doing it, where he would do like 3 to 4 different exercises that were extremely like taxing mentally and physically to get you to the point where you want to quit, but you have to find a way to push through it. Usually about 5 to 6 rounds. And like I said, you're like, it could be like deadlifts, carry a sandbag up a hill, do a bunch of burpees, could be, you know, push the prowler sled, do thrusters. Like it's intense. And he's like a small little Asian man that's just like in your face telling
fucking
you.
Asian guys in there. Jesus
Why not be
Christ.
small?
But he
Small
just,
Asian guy.
he just like, he was like he's like my Mr. Miyagi, you know, like he just pushes me to those to that limit where like before some of the other fights where I hadn't had him, like I said before, I felt like I was mentally weak. Like he taught me how to be mentally tough, and he taught me how to like to push myself. Even like now that he's gone, I will still do what I call Jack workouts because his name's Jackie Yee, and I would still
Jackie?
do Jackie Yee. Yeah, Jackie Yee.
Yeah, say it right, bro.
His last name's not Chan, is it?
No, but so that's my biggest thing. Like I do like to put myself in uncomfortable situations and uncomfortable things. Like I take cold showers every morning just to constantly, like the first thing you do in the morning, wake up, do something that's uncomfortable. Like you don't really, even after I've been doing it now for 4 years, and every day, 4 years, and
Cold showers
every day.
Dude.
Crank it
So
as
good.
cold as
That's
Make
so
me feel
good
like
for
it's-
you. That's so good for you.
Yeah. There's people say
so
there's a
many
lot of
benefits.
But for me, it's more about the mindset. And like, I feel like if you get too comfortable in like anything you do, I just feel like that's where we start to like digress. I think that's the word I'm looking for. Like not progress, but digress, right?
Yep.
So I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
We'll pretend
I
we're
need
just
to,
going
I need to go.
agree.
I need to go do
yeah.
some more reading. Obviously, I need to start reading a goddamn
I'm
dictionary.
like, yeah.
But I mean, it's really about when you feel like you want to do the comfortable things, you have to do things that make you uncomfortable because that transitions to your training and it transitions to the things you're going to do in life. So anything that I can do, like, and it makes like the sparring rounds easier. It makes like the fights easier because you're like, dude, I've already endured work. What are you going to do? Hold me down for 3 5-minute rounds? You're going to hold me down for 25 minutes in a championship fight? Like, okay. Like, have you carried a sandbag up a hill while an old Asian man's screaming in your face telling you how useless you are? Like you learn.
You hear that, Daniel?
Bro, you made me run up a hill, but never with a sandbag.
Yeah, it's
he's-
like
We've done hills before, right?
He made me
Like,
run up a hill when I was really fat. Yeah, that shit sucks. But no sandbag.
It sucks, but it's like you when
yeah.
you get to that fatigue state and you get all that lactic acid, like you find that your mind starts to like say things to you to get you to quit. It wants you to go home and say, okay, enough is enough. But you learn to like, you teach yourself different skills that you can apply in life, like segmenting, which is huge. I don't know if anybody knows segmenting. It's just like creating a goal to get to the next step. So if you have like one thing I used to do when I'd run the hills with him is like, I would do my thrusters, 12 thrusters. I'd push the sled back and forth, do like maybe like the kettlebell, like 25 kettlebell swings. And then I'd start running up the hill with the sandbag, and you have to carry the sandbag as far as you can and then drop it, sprint the rest of the hill. And so one thing that I would do is always find markers that I could be, okay, just get to this one, just get to this one, just get to this one. And then every single time and that we would do these type of workouts, I always found myself getting farther, and the goal was always do a little bit more each time. But then I started to get to the point where it was like, it didn't fucking matter. Like I would carry it all the way to the top every time because I would find ways to push myself to the next one. Okay, it's just a little bit farther, it's just a little bit farther, it's just a little bit farther. And so that was really how I've come to like train my mind to kill my weakness, kill my coward, kill my, you know, like the scared little kid in me, and to all the fears. It's like at the end of the day, it's like, it's kind of, you said something similar earlier about you don't want to have another, like you already have to fight someone. You don't want to have another enemy. And your mind it's so easily tricked. It can be so easily tricked. It can be, your mind can try and get you to quit because it's like, it doesn't know what you're doing. It thinks you're dying. You think you're dying. Your mind is like, your body is like all over the place. You're on fire. You're like, oh, this sucks. It hurts. Like, I want to go home. And it's like, no, dude, like you have to find a way. Cause I can't live with myself if I quit. I can't. I feel like I'll go home and I'll just dwell on it. And I've never quit one of his workouts, but I've become pretty goddamn close because he put me through fucking hell for the last, 4 years. And it's really taught me how to like just endure pain and like how to like just embrace it and not fight it. You can't fight it. And it teaches you a lot about yourself and the things that you'll say to yourself. And you're like, oh shit, do I really say that stuff to myself all the time? You go back and when you accomplish something like that, and you realize like there's nothing in the world that's gonna hurt me because I've done this is horrible. Like, why am I like you guys always come back? Why do I do this? Why do I do this? Well, you're doing it so that you don't get to a point in life where you go, I quit because I like whatever it is. Like I just don't want to be put in a situation where I have to look back at myself and go, man, I quit. I gave up. There's
so many people out there that do that, like mental game is so important as far as physical as well.
Yeah. So important. So important. So Nate, to finish up with this
podcast. If not the important, right?
Yeah.
Because you can.
The body can always be there, right? But if your mind's not there.
Yeah. Especially like a jiu-jitsu tournament or MMA, like.
Bro, anything in life, to be honest. You psych yourself out. You don't have that confidence. Anything in life, man. You beat yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're done. Like it just is what it is. How many times does that happen? And there's like he said, there's ways to fool yourself or beating yourself. Thinking, oh man, I'm gonna smoke this person. You just beat yourself.
Yep,
absolutely. You just like you don't take this serious. You beat yourself. You start making excuses. You think about like, there's so many. It's not just saying fuck, I'm not gonna win. That you beat yourself. You can lie to yourself so many times in this world. So many times. That's why you need a good team and you need to have you need to be there. Yeah,
100%.
But to finish up with this podcast, my last question for you is going to be game plan. Do you do like visualization? Like, do you have like certain years?
I have certain things that I will do. I could certainly be better at it. Like, I know it's one thing that's like really important. A lot of fighters and a lot of competitors do. I've gotten a lot better as the more experience I've had, the easier it is. Like, the more times you're in there, the more you can kind of see it, you can smell it, you can feel it, and it's kind of like I used to do a lot of meditating. After I got COVID in December of 2020, and I kind of like fell off with all that stuff, but I was doing a lot of meditating and just sitting with my thoughts, listening to them, and I'd go through sequences of fights and stuff. But recently now, especially when I sit in the sauna, I do start to think about certain situations, certain areas where I would attack, how I would attack. And like I said, now I'm working with this guy, Dan, who, I guess I could go back just a little bit, just saying that like it started with jiu-jitsu and once I learned pathways in jiu-jitsu and how to get to those paths, it was a lot easier to see it. And then I could visualize it. And so now it's starting to happen with the striking, where now it's like, okay, this is how we shut someone down here. Nice. If we just do this, he's going to act like this. These are things I can do. So now it's all starting to come full circle. Nice. Even with the cage wrestling and the clinching, it's like, okay, now I'm seeing all these sequences happen because I've done them so much, and I'm understanding the like science and the system behind it, that now I can just let it run through my head and I can actually watch as things unfold. And then if he does this, then I can do that. So now I have answers and evidence to see, okay, this is what you would do. And as long as you have the evidence, I feel like it makes it a lot easier. And the more you do it, the easier it gets, obviously. But yeah, that's one way I'll like visualize. And since I was like just starting when I was in West Virginia, I used to, anytime I walk up a flight of stairs, I'd always visualize myself stepping into a cage. Like this is about to happen. Like if I'm walking up a flight of stairs, it's like the way I'm walking up the stairs before a fight, right before, and then I can feel the lights, I can smell, I can see what's about to happen. So I feel like the more you're in it, the more you experience it, the more your mind can start to create those visualizations. And when you know what you're going to do or how you want to approach something, it makes it a lot easier. When your mind's all over the place, and I've had this happen, it's a lot harder to kind of like condense all the chaos in your head. But the more you go through it, the more you practice, the more you do something in general, the easier it is to visualize and see what you're going to do or how you're going to do something. So that's just.
So I'm a fan, right? I'm a fan. Tell me, as a fan, what, like, you have a fight this Friday. You have a fight this Friday coming up.
Yep.
Yeah, of course, they always say never overlook your opponent, but you have big goals. You have big dreams.
Yeah.
I'm a fan.
Yep.
Tell me, not like excite me as a fan, but I'm invested in your journey, right? Okay. What do you think your journey is going to look like in a few years? What is your goal plan? What are you, like, what, like, like certain people, like, these are my goals. These are, you can't control everything, and obviously you're not overlooking anybody, but like, if I was a fan and you're like, hey guys, come for the journey. I have big goals. These are, you know what I mean?
Right.
And I want to be invested. Like, I want to be invested in a fighter,
absolutely,
right?
Absolutely.
So like, if you were like to say certain things and like to invest, right? That, things that you can control. What do you see yourself?
Well, number one, I know it kind of goes back to my values, and like I value hard work and I value dedication to the things that I'm doing, and I'm so for me, it's like I'm invested in what I do, and I don't just go in there to like I go in there to win, but I'm not going in there to survive. I'm going in there to fight. I'm going in there to win, and I'm not only going in there to just get the win. I'm going in there looking to finish you. Obviously, right now I'm at a point where if I win and I beat this guy up, I'm going to start taking harder and harder opponents. And it's like this is the road we've chosen. This is the road that we want to be on. So for me, it's chipping away at the guys that they put in front of me until I get my shot to get to the UFC. When I get to the UFC, I feel like I'm prepared to go in there and do exactly what I've been doing. I'm just building and building. I'm building a resume. I'm chipping off milestones. Okay, I beat this guy. I did it this way. And I'm just building those more evidence for that mind to prove, okay, I can do this. I'm here. I'm ready to go. Like, I'm not just going to go in there and just hope I win. I'm going in there with the intent to beat the living shit out of you. I'm going in there to hurt you. So if you like violence, if you like flash, if you like style, like I'm not somebody, you're not going to see the same knockout every time. I've knocked out the last 4 guys that I beat, including an amateur, liver kick, knees to the head, right hand. Another one was elbows and knees to the head. So you're not getting a one track guy. I do everything. And people, like I said, people haven't even seen my grappling yet. When it starts to get to that point where people want to fight with me on the ground, you'll see ground and pound. You'll see submissions from all over the place because I can do it all. People haven't even seen my clinch yet. I feel like right now I'm still an unknown, but people, especially after this fight, are going to find out why people are pulling out of fights because I'm an unknown. I look unassuming, like a little nerd. I'm coming in there to hurt you. I'm coming in there to butcher you. I'm coming in here to bludgeon you. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make you quit, and I'm going to win. Because at the end of the day, my goal is to be a world champion, and if you're in my way, you're a fucking problem, and we're going to solve that problem. So I hope, I hope
bro,
people
I just got goosebumps.
I mean, that's the thing. Like,
that's awesome, man.
Thank you. I mean, like, for me, like, this has been my dream for the last 7 years. This is what I've done. I've sacrificed my getting a full-time job. I've sacrificed, even I don't make a lot of money doing what I do. I don't, like the stress, like they talk about the stressful nights. Like I feel all those things like, oh man, like I don't make enough money. I'm not where I want to be. People don't know my name, blah, 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 blah. But it's still reminding myself that like, it takes time. Like, I don't want this to be given to me. I chose this path because you can't give it to me. Like, I've been fortunate where my family, that like my parents, like I was adopted and they've taken very, very good care of me. But this is something they cannot give me. I have to earn every fucking minute of what I do. I cannot have someone come and be like, okay, they're going to give you X amount of dollars. You can have this. No, I have to earn everything. So this is my thing where no one can take this away from me. When I do this and I succeed and I get to that level, no one can be like, oh, well, they gave it to him. No, I fucking earned it. Yep. I went in there and I put everything out that I had. I gave everything I had. And so when I go out there and fight, I want people to know that. Like, I want to show that in what I choose to do and how I choose to act. Like, this is day in and day out. I fucking went out and I trained my ass off every single day, somehow studying, learning, getting better, surrounding myself with great people so that I can be a great individual. That's what destined for greatness is. When I say that, people are like, oh, this dude's arrogant. Like, he's destined for greatness. What does that even mean? It's like, I'm choosing to do something other people don't want to do. That does not make me better than them. It's just, I've chosen to create a path for myself, and that destined for greatness is the fact that I'm living the life that I chose. Nobody chose this for me. I chose this path. I choose to show up every single day, get up early in the morning, do the work I got to do, and help people along the way. So for me, it's just people understanding that like I'm coming from a place where I want people to also see. And on this, I'm sorry, I'm just like going on a tangent.
No, bro, talk that shit, bro.
Talk it up, bro.
Talk that shit.
Man.
It goes back to what we were talking about from being from like a community where a lot of people like I said this to Pat, nobody has from around here has gone to the UFC and stayed in the UFC. Nobody from around here.
You're not wrong.
Nobody, like some people have gotten there and they breached the surface, and it's good for them because they paved the way for guys like me to say, hey, I can fucking do that. I see this guy make it to the UFC. He made it, but I want to go beyond that. I'm not trying to make it to the UFC. I'm trying to get to the UFC, and then I'm trying to tear down the guys in front of me. I'm not trying to be, I went 2-2. I went 0-2. No, I'm going in there with the intent to beat the best guys in the world. That is my goal. That is my journey. I'm not going in there to survive, and I want people to see, like, I come from a small town. My town, Southampton, Massachusetts, it's small. Nobody knows of it. People think Northampton. They think, like, I just have to be like, Northampton, Springfield.
I barely know East Hampton shit. I saw Southampton. I was like, what the fuck is...
Where is this, like, small farm town?
And then I was like, well, that makes sense. If there's a Northampton, there has to be a Southampton. Yeah. But I'm like, there's no West Hampton.
But that's the thing. It's like, I want to be the guy to remind people, especially from around here, that if you put the time and effort in, and you work hard and you're consistent and you don't quit on yourself, that you can achieve huge things. It's not some fucking, like, not some motivational speech I'm trying to give to people. Like, I want to be the reason people go, oh, fuck, he did it. He fucking did it. He went out there and he put everything out there. And some people will be like, oh, no, he didn't. He was a gift, like, whatever. It doesn't matter to me because I know at the end of the day how much time, how much effort, everything I sacrificed to be where I am and where I'm going to go. So I hope you're with me on this journey. And I hope you can see that, like, I'm not going to be the only person after this. Like, I want to see other people go out there and do what they want to do, not what they feel they have to do. Do what you fucking love and enjoy your fucking journey while you're doing it, because you only get one fucking shot as far as I'm concerned. So make sure you're fucking doing everything you can to do the things you love, or else you're going to be working for somebody who's living the fucking life that they always wanted. So just remember that shit. That's so my fucking biggest thing.
Yep.
That's so true, man.
And guys, if you think he's arrogant, fuck you. Watch him fight. Watch him fight.
Listen, guys, I've seen him fight, and man, this guy's really fun to watch. So very super exciting. And
you listen to that dude, you fucking feel the passion, you feel the emotion, and it's like, dude, I don't give a fuck, bro. You can be good at basketball, but people can hand shit to you in basketball. People can hand shit to you in football because of your size and all that shit, all that extra genetic shit. You can't be handed shit in fighting. You could be athletic and shit. Don't mean you could fucking fight. It does not mean you can fucking fight. And where you come from and all that shit, don't matter. Don't give a flying fuck, bro. Like, at the end of the day, when you out here, bro, there's only you out there. And what you've done will be the determining factor if you win, and will show people. So if anybody has anything negative to say, fuck it, still watch it and then still talk your shit. You know, talk your shit, but still watch it. Because either way, that's what you want. You want more eyeballs on you, right? That's the name of the game when it comes to the promotion side, the business side of fighting. But when you're in there, bro, real ones know. Bro, this dude he trains. This dude's about it. Like, you can't have the results that you're having at the level you're having right now. Where, like, yo, motherfuckers, yeah, bro, this dude could fight more if they quit ducking him. Don't duck him. All right, so then don't talk about him. Don't act like you are at the same level as him if you don't want to fight him, right? So at the end of the day, that's just it. That's just the. But guess what? A lot of motherfuckers will duck you because they get scared, bro. You know what? You can't control that. All you can control is that you're still putting in the work because you're not worried about no guy from around here. You want those motherfuckers that are around that are just like you, and you're gonna run into those guys and you're gonna fuck them up. Because listen, like we said, we've been around, bro. I'm not a fighter, but I've been around a lot of fighters. I've been a fan of fighting. I've trained jiu-jitsu. I've been around all those gyms. I've been on all those events and stuff like that. And when you see a real one, you know a real one. And you guys hop on the train, right, Tran? Hop on the fucking train. Be a fan.
You know.
Buy a ticket, bro. A lot of times in this community, especially when it comes to local stuff, people don't support each other. And that's what we need. We need support. How the hell are we going to make a name for ourselves if nobody's there supporting? You know, we need to love each other. We need to be there for each other because there's like-minded people that will be there. And shit, if you don't support or if you don't like me, still support me, still watch and see me get my ass beat if they can. Right? If they fucking can, bro. Yeah. I'm about to send you home. Either way, your ticket's still the same price, right? Either way, your fucking ticket's still the same fucking
September
price.
17th.
September 17th,
baby.
Yeah.
You're gonna fucking... What's his name again? I'm sorry.
Eduardo Rodriguez.
Eduardo Rodriguez. I'm sorry, but you're just in the pathway to greatness, bro. It's not... And this shit isn't given. This shit isn't paved. This shit is worked for, right? So if you don't like it, beat him. If not, shut the fuck up and get that L, right? Because it's the one shit that, like, that's prove it, bro, right? Yeah, that's why I like fighting so much. Prove it, motherfucker. Prove it. Oh, you think you could beat me? All right, so then prove it, right?
Yeah.
Bro, world-class human being you are.
Thank
Dude,
you.
we're so happy to have you on the podcast.
Thank you
for taking thank you for taking your time out, dude. Unfortunately, I have to work, but Tran, you gonna go to that fight?
Yeah, I'll definitely come support and watch it. I'm excited to be part of that huge fan that was cheering you on that last fight.
Hell yeah, man! You got nothing but
love. It was
love.
crazy,
you got
man.
Nothing but love from the 10 Planet side, bro. We fucking love and support you, man. I'm big on small town big town, all that. I'm from Springfield, man. I'm from the ghetto. I'm from the project of Springfield, man, where a lot of people don't do shit with their lives. And to have somebody, yeah, you're not in the same neighborhood, but you're still part of the Massachusetts Western, man. You're still around here, bro. To see you come up, man, only hard work. Dude, I respect hard work, bro, because I know you can't bullshit, bro. So, you know, I'm definitely a fan. Before we end up.
Yeah, for me, I mean, it doesn't matter where you are.
Before we finish though, because we're running out of space.
Oh shit!
Yeah, we're having a good one, man. Is there anything that you got to plug? Do you have any merch? Do you have any, anything on your Instagram? Is there anything if people want to get invested into your journey? Is there any side project? Anything that you can look into that has to do with you? Anything, even if it's just Instagram. Fuck it, it's just Instagram, man.
Yeah, right now we put together an order of Destined for Greatness shirts. So if you're looking for a Destined for Greatness shirt, please hit me up. My wife is also been in the process of she's starting her own company for stickering. She does all kinds of cool shit with cups and glasses. So if you need something like that made with my name on it or whatever you want, please hit me up at Nathan_Ghareeb or KCC_Fight House. That's the name of my gym with my buddies. And we'll link his Instagram in the
yeah, bro. We're gonna promote the shit out of you, bro. So, we're gonna promote the shit out of you, man. We're a part of this journey. We're invested. Yeah. Win, lose, regardless, bro. You got fans here, man. It doesn't. Thank you guys. The outcome does not matter, bro. We are with the journey. The journey. For me, it doesn't matter.
For me, it doesn't matter where you are. Just hearing you chase your dreams. That's I'm a fan right there. So anybody that chases their dreams and follows it, stays consistent. I'm a fan of you.
Thank you.
All right. Is anybody else got a plug? You're all good with plugs?
I'm good. I'm good.
Guys, remember September 17th. He's fighting for CES 63. It's going to be at the Connecticut Convention Center in Hartford, Connecticut. If you cannot be there live, you can go to UFC Fight Pass. They will be streaming the fights, okay? Make sure to tune in, hashtag him. If you see him and he posts a video, tag him so he can reply it or something, all right? Don't take the video and not tag him in it, okay? Don't be weird like that, okay? Come out, support our boy. Like we said, yeah, bro. Yeah, Bill was anyways, like we said, this is the Jiu-Jitsu Lifting Life podcast. As always, if our videos will always be in our bios. Every Tuesday we'll be dropping this one. This Tuesday coming up, we'll be promoting it on everything. Like, share, subscribe, leave a comment if you like it. And my very, very last thing is, guys, we love you. You're not alone. If you're going through a hard time, reach out, okay? We're always there for you. We love everybody. You are amazing. Have a great one. We out.